All right, let's get down to business. What is up, everybody? Sorry, running late. It's been a day. So I might just go ahead and say cheers. I just need this first drink, guys. Cheers to all of you. Thanks for hanging out tonight. Hit the like button. We got a lot of stuff to do, but I just need to have a drink. So let's do that right now. Got a little Pepsid in me. Kind of feel that heartburn tingling along. All right. Weird intros aside, I hope everybody's doing well. As usual, I'm going to get started with a little bit of an Eagle Rare single barrel store pick. Still, I'm just leaving the $39.99 on just to, every time I pick this bottle up, I remember it was a victory to find this at $39.99 and not 85 or 90 secondary, which is what Eagle Rare store picks are going for these days. All right, what's up? So I see some people in the chat. I'm going to get to the chat in just a second. Please, everybody, hit that like button on your way in. I just had to switch over my setup. I've been in video recording mode, which means a lot of different cables plugged in and just kind of a different setup. And then when I go to live stream, I have to reverse all of that, and it takes me like 10 minutes. It used to take me like 30 seconds, and then I made it more intricate, and now it takes a long time to change this setup over. So thanks for bearing with me as I'm running a little bit late and everything like that. So we do have a giveaway tonight, guys, and I want to talk about that very quickly at the beginning. And I need to edit my banner just to make sure it reflects exactly what the giveaway is going to be for a, let's see, sample pack of tonight's featured pours. Okay, so boom. Basically, what's going to happen tonight is, first and foremost, we're going to get into a couple of new bottles, all right? And I have a bunch of stuff I want to talk about at the beginning, but let's just start with this. Wild Turkey 12-year, the best packaging in the game. It's not even really in the game because it's not really in the U.S. So the best packaging outside of the United States goes to Wild Turkey. The best packaging of an American whiskey that doesn't get produced in the United States. The best packaging of an American whiskey that doesn't get distributed in the United States but is produced in the United States but only goes to export markets. It's the Wild Turkey 12. There we go. And then we also have the Woodford Reserve, the brand new Masters Collection, 18th edition Masters Collection, which is the historic barrel. Historic. I said that like I'm from New York. I'm not. It's historic barrel entry. We'll talk about this in a second as well. So we're going to get into both of these new bottles tonight. And I brought their younger sibling counterparts to kind of do a side-by-side and give you maybe some more information about these new bottles. What else do I have here? Brand new video out. I might retaste it on this stream because the bottle's got so much air in it. You can see the Elijah Craig A123 is not going to last long. So I might have to be grabbing a few backups. But I might retaste this one tonight as well before we get into the blind flight, which that is the second half of the stream. Amy Boehm, who's in the chat right now, sent... there we go. 5 100% random pours. The numbers of the bottles she selected from her inventory were given by somebody in last week's live chat. It's 100% random flight, no order thought through, nothing like that. And she's producing questions for this randomly generated flight, and I'm going to do my best, as usual, to guess the kind of stats that we would have to guess in Matt Madness, which is starting very soon. The qualifying rounds, I'm sure many of you have been watching them. I've checked them all out. Lots and lots of fun. And crazy for Matt for doing all that. But 5 of these, and Amy sent along the answers here. This side with answers, this side with letters. So I'll make sure that when I unpaperclip these and show you guys in the close cam, trademark, this one, that I'm on the right side. And what else? I'll tell you exactly what samples are in the sample pack for the giveaway tonight in just a second. Sorry, I don't have the chat up. I'm not looking at the chat right now. Final announcements, I think. I have 2 boxes here. This box... No, let's start with this one. This box which says, there it is, the Funky Drummer. There's the focus. If you open this box and you peer into this box, there are many samples sent my way from none other than Chad and Sarah. It's bourbon night, so I'm going to be on there this Sunday evening, 8 p.m. Eastern, with Matt Porter going head-to-head. And this box is from Jeff Frederick, and I'm going to be on the Bourbon Junkies channel next Tuesday night, the 21st. Pretty much 95% confirmed that that's happening. Wow, the amount of dust from that box. It's been sitting here for a few months. Going to be live on the Bourbon Junkies channel with this box. Whatever's in here, I have no idea. I still haven't even opened it. And we're going to play whatever game this is, and I'm going to spank Dan and Sean. I'm just saying. So that's the morning announcements, okay? Let me check the chat. All right, here we go, guys. So let me get into this here. Let me have another sip of Eagle Rare. You know, I am very excited to get into this Wild Turkey 12 tonight, but I might be more excited to get into this Woodford. I've had one little sip of it. The day that it arrived, I cracked it open, and I tried not to think too hard about it. That's hard for me. I think and I talk a lot. Sorry. And I just wanted to kind of save my real, like, my deep thoughts, my deep first impressions for tonight's stream. So I don't really know what to expect from this. And again, we'll talk about it when we get there. It's going to be the first thing we taste because it's a lower proof at 90.4. But yeah, I hope everybody's doing well. The giveaway, the sample pack giveaway, 10 samples, and there's going to be 2 winners. I'll keep track of all of the giveaway entries tonight. I can do that all on my side of things and show you guys the randomizer when we run it. It's 100% transparent. You can see everything. 10 samples. Elijah Craig A123, Larceny A123, brand new. Okay, these are all 1 ounce samples. Wild Turkey 12, Woodford Historic Barrel Entry. Then another cool bottle. Redwood Empire Apple Brandy Finish, 14-year MGP. That's going to be in the sample giveaway. And then 2 backbone picks, Matt Porter ADHD Whiskey Backbone and the Bourbon Junkies Backbone pick. So you can compare those side by side. Both Bardstown Origin Bottled and Bond Weeder, High Rye Small Batch Bourbon, and finally the Middle West Spirits pick that I did 2 summers ago, I think, 2 summers ago with Drew P. and Brian Bikey and Tom Lynch, the entry proof guys. So 10 samples for the giveaway, and plus a lot of the stuff you're going to see tonight, obviously, in the Redwood, all good stuff. So is that enough talking about not what I'm tasting and smelling? Roy N., what's up, man? Gotta miss the show. I'll catch you later, Roy. Thanks for saying hey, though. JG, good to see you. Amy Boehm, I see Nick is here. Nick, dude, I miss you, man. We need to hang out. And I've no spotlight search. I've been seeing you've been leading some tastings, which is freaking awesome, dude. Christine Vasco and Mark Vasco, how are you both doing? Dave V. When I say only the letter for your last name, I just don't want to say your last name wrong. So if you tell me how to say your last name in the chat, if I've been saying like Dave V. Vogelsang, I would imagine it's Vogelsang. If it's anything crazier than that, then I think I get one excused mispronunciation on that one. Shauna, cheers to you. Sandeep is in the house. Seems Cam has not started yet. You're right. Very late tonight. Are you schlammered? Not yet. Maybe by the end. I have a 10 a.m. rehearsal, but it's super easy. This is the easiest week known to man for me in the orchestra. 1 triangle note, 2 glockenspiel notes. That's a wrap. Dustin, what is up, man? Dang, Frank. Listening to Frank, you're drinking a crazy good bottle. Which, speaking of which, guys, speaking of the Parker's Heritage Double Barreled, I got my hands on a sample thanks to Joe W. Joe Waninger? Joe, I still can't remember exactly. Is it Waninger? Help me out here, Joe, if you're in here. And I promise I'll remember this time. Joe sent Parker's Heritage, which I'm going to taste tonight, the double barreled. He also sent me Hard Truth Sweet Mash Rye. I've been hearing some good things about Hard Truth. I need some hard truth, to be honest with you. And then he also, the third sample he sent was a Barrel King finished in Stag Junior barrels. Pretty interesting on that one. All right, I'm going to scroll down here. Matt Porter. What is up, Matt Porter? Guys, if you don't know Matt Porter, this is the guy that's going to lose on Sunday night on the It's Bourbon Night channel. I love you, Matt. Dang, JG. Jay is coming in hard. What? John Cloud, what is up, man? Stephen B. Top Dog, Joe Dickinson. Man, so many people in here. This is awesome. Jake McKee. Jake, speaking of Jake McKee and Keith Thompson, and then Amy Boehm and Robert E. I owe you guys all sample packs in the mail. Amy and Robert with the Coy Hill and some other stuff. And then the other guys from Patreon. So whoever wins tonight's stream, the 2 sample pack winners from tonight, I'm going to get all 6 of those boxes out on Monday, okay? So, Toshi, good to see you, man. Univ Poke as well. Univ, it's not the pumpernickel pick. It's just a 4-grain bourbon pick. It's an awesome pick. Vogelsang. Yeah, I got it, I think, Dave, right? Vogelsang. If you win, I can send the pumpernickel pick instead. All right, Jeb's in. All right, guys, we're gonna get to this Woodford now in just a second. So, Jeb, I got you, man. Thank you for the $20 super chat. Looking forward to seeing how that Woodford compares to number 16. I don't know if hang on. Do I have some left? I don't know. Yeah, I don't think I have any of the number 16 left, which was the very fine rare bourbon. I think I drank all of that actually like a month ago. I had a 1 ounce sample hanging out, maybe just a little bit of a 1 ouncer left. The nerd is in the house. David Tanner, first timer tonight. Awesome. Thanks for jumping in, David. Okay, guys, so we got Jeb in for 4 entries to tonight's giveaway. There we go. My numbers thing was taking a second to refresh. There we go. Cool. All right, so let's pour this Woodford. Let's get a fresh glass. This deserves a fresh glass, I think. So let's take a look at the front of the bottle here. Obviously, I still call this the new bottle design for these because it still feels kind of new. God, I hate this ring light. You see that ring on the bottle? I need to get a better I have a light right in front of the table to make the bottles light up a little bit more, but I hate those ring lights. I need to get something that's, more softbox square. But you can see here, historic barrel entry. I got to stop saying that like a New Yorker. Historic. 90.4 proof. 45.2% ABV. It's the 18th release. And what the deal is here is that Woodford went with an extremely low barrel entry proof. 100 proof into the barrel. Normally, Woodford's putting it in the barrel at 125, which is the case with most distilleries, I would say. You're kind of in the minority if you're putting anything in lower than 125, because 125 is going to give you, basically the greatest yield once you bring it out of the barrel and cut it down. So it's a little bit more of an expensive, it's a little bit more expensive to do a lower entry proof like this for a company that traditionally doesn't. But the thing that we lack with the Woodford historic barrel entry is an age statement. And they don't really age state any of their products, but it's kind of problematic for me here because what we have is a 700 milliliter, not 750. 700 is now legal. We saw that with another Brown-Forman set of products, the Triple Mash and the Bonded Jack Daniels. They did 700 mils and they did 1 liters. So this is now 700 mils. The problem with that, though, is that the price stayed the same at $129.99 for the suggested retail price. So they're getting, they're turning a little more than 6% extra profit on all these bottles. And then also, I know, again, it's more expensive to go into the barrel at 100 proof instead of 125, but it's not that much more expensive. So what we theoretically could have in this bottle is just same exact age as this, just lower entry proof. So We're going to find out tonight. Like, that's my complaint before I taste it. Now, if I taste it and it's lights out, I will stop complaining. I will retract everything I just said. But I'm going to set up a glass of regular Woodford as kind of my control next to it. And I got this I got the baby Woodford. I love these 375s of like standard products that I'm not going back to every day. Once you accumulate so much, it's like, you know, I have enough whiskey for like the next 10 years or something. I think I calculated that one time, and it's one of those things where it's like, am I going to choose Elijah Craig Barrel Proof or regular Woodford? I'm probably going to go ECBP, so getting the 375s of these things is a little more economical. Not that anything about buying this much whiskey is economical, because it ain't. Oh, Christine, Venmo sent to you. Thank you, Christine. Oh my gosh, thank you so much. 4 entries for Christine Vasco into tonight's giveaway. Thank you. That's awesome. And it says, hoping to win some Middle West samples. Awesome. I appreciate that. And guys, yeah, you can always send to my Venmo. You can always send an entry into my Venmo directly. Let me see if I can put that in the chat here. You know, friends and family Venmo. YouTube doesn't get a 35% cut or whatever they take, which is kind of crazy. And Brian Walsh with an entry to the giveaway. Thanks, Brian. All right, here we go. Let's get into this Woodford now. Yeah, shrinkflation is hitting the whiskey industry. That's a great word. Someone said that earlier, right? Jeb maybe said that. All right. Wow. Wow. That is very different, actually. Interesting. Yeah, this is very different. I gotta get these couple of super chats here real quick. I don't know what to think about that first impression of this Woodford. Thank you, Jay. Whiskey cheers to you as well, man. And we got Ricky Bobby. If you ain't first, you're last. Ricky Bobby says, basically, it's really expensive Basil Hayden's in a pretty bottle is what you're saying then. Well, we'll see. We'll see. I don't know if I'd go that far. Oh, my gosh, guys. So let me taste this real quick, and then I'll get to those super chats. I want to keep things moving. If you're just now tuning in tonight, thank you. Hit that like button on your way in. Let's get into this Woodford now. So, thinking back to the Very Fine Rare Bourbon, which was the 16th Masters Collection release, that was a very interesting Woodford. And this reminds me of that release in some ways. And I'll tell you how in just a second. There are so many things I want to say about this. Very Fine Rare Bourbon, I think they announced, or maybe it was rumored, to have some really old whiskey in the blend, and you could taste it. The problem with the Very Fine Rare was that it was watered down to 90.4. There were some great notes, like orange marmalade, interesting, apricot jam, like just really weird fruit notes going on in that. But it had this one note in the Very Fine and Rare that was, if you've ever had a craft distillery's whiskey, a craft distillery, let's say Spirits of French Lick is a great example, especially a distillery that works sometimes with oats or really any kind of heirloom grain, especially when they're using pot stills. You're getting that kind of pot still flavor. There's a particular, I think a lot of people, like Matt I think calls this farminess, and some other people use that word. I don't like that word, but it makes a lot of sense. There's an interesting grain note, and I'm going to say it's kind of like an oat thing. That's in the Very Fine and Rare. It's also in here, so it makes me wonder why that's in here. Maybe there's some older whiskey in this blend, and maybe that's what older Woodford comes off like, because we don't really get the chance to try super old Woodford Reserve. So maybe that's what contributed to those notes to the Very Fine and Rare. Maybe the same thing here, but I don't know. If this was older, you would imagine that they would mention in the press release at least a maximum age. Like, hey, we've blended up to 12-year bourbon in here, or something like that, and they didn't say that. So I'm not sure, but I'm getting this almost farmy, oaty. It reminds me of like the Chattanooga experimental bottle that was finished in apricot brandy barrels. It gives you this kind of note, and I think there were oats in that mash bill. So it's really orange forward. but there's a gigantic cherry note. A little medicinal, but huge cherry note in the glass. The comparison is stark. Wow. Hang on. I'll get to the chat, guys. The Venmo, here you go. I'll throw my Venmo on the screen if you guys want to shoot it directly there. And then just make sure to remind me in the chat that you did send me a Venmo so I can get to it. Make sure I don't miss it. I have my phone right here just in case. I'll prop this up and sit it right here. Pull my notifications up. Okay. So one other thing that's... I don't want to talk too much about the regular Woodford yet in the comparison. It's just helping me kind of ground myself as I do talk about this new release. There is a just crazy amount of like coffee and dark chocolate in this Woodford. Again, something that I just don't typically associate with Woodford Reserve. When you do think about the younger or the base whiskey here, typically I think of bright fruit, bright cherry, and tons of banana. Yeah, it's just like a banana brown sugar cherry fest in the glass. It's kind of crazy to smell coffee in Woodford. So I'm going to taste it. You guys were talking about the color a second ago. Is it that much different? Let me see. Well, not really in the glass. Maybe in the bottle, but the bottles are significantly different depths, you know? So, I did not expect to like that much. Let me check out these super chats here. William Hall, thank you for 2 entries into tonight's sample giveaway. I gotcha. Best of luck Sunday night. Should be a good show. I'm hoping it's going to be a good show. I need to go over there and revisit some of their older live streams when they've done stuff like this. I think they've done things like this recently, but I just, Sunday nights are like, I'm not on Whiskey Tube Sunday night, so it kind of is what it is. But I need to go back and see what I'm in for, you know? Thanks, William. John Cloud could use a win. And he says, I can use a win also. Yeah, you're right. Sunday and Tuesday, and then Matt Madness. I got to start training more dedicatedly. I need to get back into training for Matt Madness a little bit more. Thanks, John, man. I appreciate it. Thank you, everybody. Ricky, William, John, everybody else that super chatted so far. And Shauna's in for 2 entries as well. So let me get you in here, Shauna. Thank you so much. Yes, fingers crossed. All right. Man, so I'll say this. The lower entry proof made this bourbon significantly more flavorful, and it also made it have a way better mouthfeel. So I'm going to taste regular Woodford now. It's there. Flash of spice. Very sweet, young bourbon notes. Young Brown-Forman bourbon notes. You guys know what I'm talking about. Brown sugar, bananas everywhere. Now it's gone. Okay. Over to the lower. I'm just going to... What about... Historic Barrel Entry? That's such a mouthful. The Barrel Entry bottle. Crazy. There's so many layers. The dark coffee is my favorite part of this whiskey by a mile. On top of that is kind of like a mixture of that super dark cherry. And usually with Brown-Forman products, you start going brown sugar molasses. That's kind of like the caramelized or, sweeter flavor that you're thinking about. This one kind of bucks that trend and goes straight up caramel as opposed to like brown sugar molasses. I know that might sound like a small distinction. It's really not. It's actually quite noticeable on the nose. So that's kind of like the middle of everything with just that espresso dark chocolate on the bottom. And then on the top of this is just like I said, apricot jam, that oaty. That's a Oaty, OT, you know. It's got that oat thing, that kind of farmy funk almost. You could almost mistake this for a craft whiskey if you had it in a blind. So lots of layers. Very cool. But it's a heavy whiskey. Like, that's got to be what the low barrel entry proof is doing for this. Much more flavor, significantly more concentrated. Again, it would be nice to know the age so that we could play that variable out and think about it when we compare these side by side. But let's just say they're even close to the same age, within 2 years, which I would imagine they probably are. That's very, very cool. It's not $130 cool. I can tell you that straight away. If you're not like a whiskey collector or significantly invested whiskey enthusiast who doesn't mind just, here's 130 plus tax, no worries, I have to buy this new Woodford bottle, then this is totally a cool thing for you to buy and do this comparison. If you have $150 budget per month for your whiskey purchases, and this is your new one for the month, I don't think I'm going to buy this, you know? That doesn't change the fact that it's a really cool whiskey. I didn't know what I was going to think of it. So, anyways, Marshall, I just got your $10 Venmo, Marshall. Actually, I got it a few minutes ago, but thank you so much. I got you in for 2 for tonight's giveaway. And guys, the giveaway, we're going to draw at the end of the stream, just so you know. So we're going through these new bottles right now, these comparisons for the first half. Second half probably means second hour is going to be the blind flight from Amy Boehm. We'll talk about that when we get there. We don't need to preview anything. There's nothing really to preview. It's just going to be off the cuff and very fun, at least for me, until I miss them all. So we'll draw at the end of that blind flight, just so you guys know. So it's going to be a little while. If you have to check back in tomorrow if you do have to log off the stream. And if you did win and you weren't here for the win, just shoot me an email, drumsanddrams@gmail.com, with your information, and we'll kind of link up on that, just so you know. So Unipoke, good question here. Are the batch proofs a part of the Master's Collection numbering system? Actually, let me check that. No, there is no number on the front of the batch proofs, so it must not be the case. So that I actually didn't realize there were quite so many Master's Collections, 18. And they do one a year, so they must have started in like 2004. If they've stuck to one per year. I know some special release things, like there's George T. Staggs in the past that have had like a fall and spring release, or, you know, something along those lines where they've had 2 kind of random. But if they've stuck to it, you guys might know in the chat. You can drop it in there if you do. That would mean 2004 start time. Jeffrey Wack, man, what's up? And Joe, help me out with your last name, man. Again, one more time. I mentioned it earlier. I don't think you were in here. Is it Wanninger? Help me. I think you've told me this before, but I just want to know. Because I just recorded the video. It's already recorded, everybody. The Parker's Heritage Double Barreled Blend. I've already shot my review. I shot it last night or the night before. But I just said Joe W. because I wasn't confident. I wasn't confident. Aiden, that's a bold thing to say. That is a bold thing to say. And I don't know if I can like immediately disagree with you on that. You know, I would have to actually think. I would have to do them side by side, which is not a very fair comparison given the proofs, but I'd have to really think about what I value in whiskey in that comparison. Okay, let's see. Unipoke says, am I alone in loving that Wild Turkey Old Label look? So recent, but already future Dusties. What are you talking about? Are you talking about this one right here? Because, yeah, this is... I don't know when I got this. This 101. I guess the bottling is on the back, probably. LLIF. IJ. That would mean it was bottled in... IF is the 6 month, and I is going to be what? 2020? I think that means it was June 2020 bottled if it's an IF laser code. Sorry, I had to do some alphanumeric calculating in my brain. Matt, are you talking Volk and Islam, or are you talking you and me, dude? Because if so, it's you. I'm just kidding. So Islam Volk, I'm still on Volk, dude. I don't think Islam beat him decisively enough for pound for pound for him to lose that distinction. Honestly, if anything, you could call them like tied for first. Pound for pound's also like the dumbest thing on planet Earth. GOAT discussions are also stupid, and it's just people that need things to talk about, in my opinion. But I would say it's probably a tie for first, or Volk retains it. Oh, Turkey 12 and GTS. Well, here I am just talking about UFC. Yeah, okay, so you're saying pound for pound between Turkey 12 and GTS. Yeah, that's the thing. I don't know. I'm still probably going to say GTS off the cuff because, well, we're going to get into Turkey 12. And I've only had this one night, and it was a fresh crack. So before I say anything, let me actually taste it tonight. Okay, let me make sure I've got my super chats in. Yep, I got everything on the stream. And guys, if I miss a super chat, if I miss one, please tell me to go back. Because if I do end up missing something in my Venmo or in the live stream, or if I don't input it into my document, I just send those people sample packs as if they won. Because there's nothing else I can do. You know, they weren't factored in, and that's not cool. Toshi says Volk won. I don't know, man. I think it's... In the moment when I was watching the fight, I thought Islam won, and I wanted Volk to win. But... I don't know. All right. Okay, last sip. Let's do the last sip of this Woodford, which, again, I like it. Very, very neat. Not worth the $130, but if you're a collector, you want to try it. No harm in it. This is not the kind of whiskey, though, and this is kind of an important point to make, I think. Let me take a sip before I make an important point. It's not that important, Jesus. It's just whiskey. Ooh, that's good. So, there are some whiskeys that do really well at a bar when you're tasting them. In my mind, it's a high proof whiskey. I've kind of talked about this on a stream before, which is that when you have sensory overload, if you're in a really loud bar, you're drinking out of a non-ideal nosing and tasting glass, there are too many factors at play, and there's a lot of smells. There's just humans and food and just all sorts of stuff and mustiness. At a bar like that, to me, I have to get a barrel proofer to kind of cut through the noise. In my mind, your senses can take up to level 100. You know, that's the max. But I feel like your other senses contribute to that total score, and it reduces your ability to smell. That's my experience. So I have to go for a barrel proofer to cut through the noise, literally. This whiskey, if you say, hey, try before you buy, yes, but you need to be at like a whiskey bar. It's kind of quieter in my mind. Drinking out of a Glencairn because it's a low proofer. That's the place to try this whiskey, not in a loud bar. Even if you get a good deal on it, that shouldn't really inform your decision of whether or not to spend the $130, because I think oftentimes I've tasted things at bars, I'm like, that's a great bottle. I go out and I buy one, I bring it home, and I'm like, that is not what I thought it was. That happens often. Eric, what's up, man? 12-year turkey is amazing. Good. I'm glad to hear that. I liked it. I tried it. I've tried it once already. I really liked it, but we'll see tonight. Yeah, and I mean, this is a good point, too. This turkey, this will become a dusty quickly. All the label changes make things easier to become dusties, right? You see the label change, you get the FOMO, the things start going away on the shelves, you feel like you got to buy them. Contributes a little bit to that hype. But you're right. I find that, you know, the more you go back labels with the turkey portfolio, the better the whiskey gets, the more flavorful it gets, the less ethanol forward it gets, et cetera, et cetera. So, 100 people in chat. That's amazing. Please hit that like button if you're hanging out tonight. Let's get a few more people in here for a blind flight, and now for this Wild Turkey 12 that we're about to taste. This stream might be a little long. I was slow there. I was really slow. I'm going to pick it up on the Turkey 12, I promise. Here we go. No better presentation in the game right now. It's a little close, but here we go. Ta-da. Look at that. Oh my goodness. And look at this right here. Oh my god. That is just gorgeous. Hard to photograph though because it's so dark on this side and so light on this side. The light catches it. Come on, look at that. That is just... Jeez. Usually I feel like boxes and presentation can be really wasteful and just kind of over the top. Not for this. This is awesome. So let's do this Turkey 12. Oh my gosh. Okay. I like that. I like the way that smells. Aiden says, I've been sampling out the turkey in the GTS 2022. The consensus has been that the turkey is better. That's good because you must be sampling that out. My uninformed guess is that you're sampling that out to people that know something about whiskey, or at least have even tasted enough to have an opinion, like an opinion that's beyond good, bad. Because I feel like if you put those side by side, someone's just going to be like, wow, that's more flavorful for the George T. Stagg, and automatically go for it. So I feel like to be discerning in that, you must be giving that to a certain kind of person, right? Yeah, Jay, I like it, man. I've been sleeping next to it, just cuddling up. Sparky says, that takes my breath away. That's what she said. Just kidding. That's not. That's the second stream in a row I've gotten a That's What She Said in. That's because Sarah loves The Office. She just has it on all the time in the background. The Office is great for the background of life, you know? They've all been regulars who opinions I trust. Yeah, that makes sense, Aiden. Okay, so Toshi. I had it 3-2 and they went to decision, which was disappointing when they gave Islam. The decision Volk did so much more damage. For sure. I still think we're in a time right now, though, where even though they say that damage is supposed to count over just control time with no damage, I still think a lot of judges are not factoring that in properly. And obviously, judging is just crap. Like 85% of the judging is just terrible. Oh, man, Daniel hooked up with the Stag 18 at a neighborhood bar. I didn't mean to phrase it that way, that you hooked up with the Stag 18. At least it was Stag 18 and not 17. Sorry. Okay, moving on. Christine, deep dive into... I don't know what's going on with me today, guys. Maybe it's just been a long day. Deep dive into Sea Leach music. Wow, top whiskey knowledge and percussion resume. Dude, thank you, Christine. Yeah, I haven't had a new percussion thing out in a long time. New video, but I appreciate that. Andrew, Dustin hooked me up, but really the only way to get these new Turkey 12s is secondary, unfortunately. And they're about 180 a pop, which is too much. I mean, let's just be honest, but... You got to get these back from Korea and Australia, wherever they're being exported to, Japan. All right. So, Turkey 12 on the nose. You can still tell that this is a Wild Turkey 101. And what I mean by that is there's still like, even with 12 years of age and cut down to 101... There's still a little... There's an edge to this. There's an alcohol edge to the whiskey. And personally, for me... Okay, hang on. I need to put this in perspective, actually, for myself. I paid $180 for this. But the actual price of this is probably less than half that. If you guys know the SRP, please drop it in the chat. Please let me know. I don't know it off the top of my head. So, all things considered... If this is like sub $100, sub $80, then I'm way more understanding of that alcohol punch, that little bit on the nose. SRP is $50? Oh, dude. I can't believe... Oh. Okay. Then I'm cool. We're great. This is a great whiskey. The nose is really interesting. I mean, the first thing that I get is just a crazy big cherry note. It's not too dark. It's kind of what do I want to say? It's like kind of maraschino cherry-ish, maybe a little bit darker, just a little bit. But it's got life to it. It's bright. It's lively. Jumps out of the glass. Orange citrus notes. Standard turkey fare with that. Like, the rye spice is coming off with just an orange citrus peel, you know, this kind of note. Jay, but I'm talking the 12-year. I'm talking the... Dude, if you found the Wild Turkey 12-year at $20, that would be wild. It would be a Wild Turkey. God, I just got to stop. But there's something on the nose of this Turkey 12, and let me know if you guys have tried it and what you think of it and some of the notes you get maybe if you're able to sip along. I feel like I'm getting something reminiscent of a Dusty in here. It's really in the background. It's not a prominent note whatsoever. But something a little bit interesting. It's still a little edgy for me, though. Even the spice, like even the orange citrus kind of pop, and there's a lot of white pepper, which again, standard fare for Wild Turkey. You know what it actually reminds me of in a lot of ways is MGP. For some reason, there's this kind of... The citrus for sure reminds me of the 36% rye MGP bourbon mash bill, but there's like a chocolate note to this turkey. There's like a darker thing in here, and I said there's a little bit of a dustiness possibly. I think that's part of this chocolate note that I'm getting in the whiskey. Yeah, actually it really reminds me of 36% rye MGP. Wow. The best part of this whiskey is the finish. The back palate as it transitions into the finish. That's where all the flavor starts to kick in for me. The beginning of the palate is just it's out of balance. It's a little too spicy, a little too alcohol forward. It's not offensive or off-putting. It's just like, okay. And then it rolls back. It sweetens up in the mid palate. But what the finish does is the finish goes leather, chocolate, and oak funk. That's what I like. That is like Russell's 13 territory, those notes. But it's only in the finish. It's not anywhere else on the whiskey. So it's almost like I feel like I'm drinking a 6 to 8 year bourbon on the front of the palate. As it rolls back, I feel like I'm drinking 10-year Redemption High Rye Bourbon, MGP. And then on the finish, I feel like I drank Russell's 13. So it has phases. To that point, it's a little bit disjunct. For $50 MSRP, I'm cool with that. That's fine. If you buy this on secondary for $180, if money's no option, stock up. That's fine. It can be your daily sipper. I might have a different daily sipper at that price point, secondary. It's cool. It's cool to try. I'm not sad at all that I got this at 180. Not sad in the slightest, but yeah, I think airtime is going to do this some good. I think maybe even a drop of water would help this whiskey. But I'm not saying, like, I like it. I'm not saying I don't like it. Ooh, Aiden. Dude, Aiden coming in with the wisdom. Okay, this is a great comment. The way I explain this whiskey to people is if Wild Turkey made a repeal reserve. That is a very astute comment, man. Yes, I see what you're saying. Still, I think the spice, like the front end, is a little uncharacteristic, but you're right. That makes a lot of sense. Sandeep says, is Wild Turkey 12 international? Yeah, it's like in the Asian markets. I don't know if it's in Australia. I think I heard that it might be in Australia. So Christopher Harris says, for those of us who don't know dusty flavor, so this is unfortunately something that is, I'm not going to cop out. I'm going to do my best here. I promise. It's really hard to describe unless you experience it. And Christopher, I don't know your like comfort level or experience with nosing, tasting, like identifying notes and evaluating that kind of thing. So forgive me if I speak on any side of too much or too little knowledge type thing, right? I don't want to come off any sort of way. That's my preface. But I would say, if you want to experience, the reason I made that caveat, the reason I said that is because if you want to experience a dusty flavor, you need to go all out first. You cannot start, in my opinion, with a whiskey that's got a little dusty. Like if you tasted this and you'd never had a dusty before, there's no way you're going to recognize, like, oh, what's that little thing in the background? I don't think that's the case. I think you need to go all out on something that was made in like the 80s. So like Dusty Turkey, Dusty National Distillers, Dusty Stitzel-Weller, like stuff like that. And what that flavor is to me, a lot of the time, it just tastes like something that's been sitting in an old basement or an old antique shop. Like if you ever walk into an antique shop and you smell all the old wood that's kind of in there, and like old books in a library, old leather-bound books, that's kind of the thing. And people might say that sounds really pretentious. It's not pretentious. It's like quite literally the flavor of what dusty stuff is. Sometimes dusty whiskeys can taste a little cheesy. They have this like old cheese note to them. I don't know that it's an acquired taste. For me, I liked it right off the bat. Some people just actually don't like the flavor of dusty whiskey. And there's another thing called the old bottle effect, or OBE for short, which is, it's kind of different than a dusty flavor. You can kind of recognize what dustiness is in a whiskey versus old bottle effect. And I have like some old blended, really terrible scotches from the 70s and 80s. Like Regis Royal, I think is one of them. 12-year, not very good. And it just, there's a flavor of when a whiskey's been sitting in a bottle for many, many decades that develops sometimes in tandem with dusty notes, which might come from older grains, old growth wood. It could come from a whole host of things. It sometimes develops along with it, or the old bottle effect is completely independent of a whiskey that actually doesn't have any dusty notes to it. So that's, sorry to go too deep into that, but sorry, I'm gonna go back in the chat here. JG, that's right on the edge of Leo's range, right there, man. I mean, you're this close. You guys have probably seen the graph, right, of Leo's girlfriends with the cap at 25. Oh goodness. Yeah, Richie Z, what's up, man? I'd buy a few of those at 50. Oh yeah, I'd buy more than a few. I'd probably buy 2 cases. Toshi, I did see this, and I haven't dug, like I read the first couple articles that came out, or speculations or whatever, and then I kind of distanced myself because there's no way anyone's actually going to admit anything if it happened and they knew. There's just no way. It's too consequential. Because obviously there's shenanigans that go on, as in anything. So, of course, strings are being pulled in a lot of different directions, I'm sure. Christopher, thanks for the explanation. Yeah, man. Marshall says, I found an Elijah Craig 12-year stated bottle in a 1.75, and I get the dust. Yeah, you get dusties on that. And it's probably only a 2014 or 2015. Exactly. I mean, so the 12-year stated stuff in Elijah Craig, that would put that distilled in 03 or 02 or 03 at minimum. And look, the old Elijah Craig pirate bottles were, there is almost certainly older whiskey. That's the way I should put it. It's not confirmed, I don't think, in writing, but word on the street is that there's older stuff in those pirate bottles for the barrel proofers. Why wouldn't that be the case for the low proof stuff as well? Maybe, maybe not. So 02 or 03 minimum, but could be 2000 or even in the late 90s distilled for some of that stuff. Look, a lot of stuff from that time period, like old Weller 12s. I mean, I have Weller 12s that have been distilled in 2003 that taste dusty. So that's right around that time. Again, we'll never really know exactly what that note comes from. The wood, the grains, the equipment, after the fire. lot of these stills get buildups of things in them, and when you clean stills, that's like a bad thing, you know. And truthfully, in decades past, cleaning practices weren't what they are today with different machinery in the distilleries. And so I've also heard that some of this buildup on different pieces of machinery, equipment, can also create some of these weird flavors, these funky flavors. Turkey 12, I really like it. It wakes you up when you drink it. It's like, it gets your attention. I kind of like that with a whiskey. Sometimes whiskeys need to get your attention. Like I said earlier about sitting in a bar that's too loud, you could drink this Turkey 12 in a bar and be like, okay, we're doing this, you know? It'll cut through the noise. All right, guys, please hit that like button if you are jumping in here. And hey, let me really remind you guys of the giveaway very quickly. We already have quite a few entries, which is awesome. Some people wanting to get in on this giveaway. Let me make sure that I haven't missed anybody. I don't think I have. So the giveaway tonight, 2 sample packs, 2 10-pour sample packs. So they're all 1-ounce samples. There's going to be 10 of them. There's going to be 2 winners. And what's in that pack? Everything I'm tasting tonight and really diving into. So let me get this off the screen. The Turkey 12-year export, going to be in there. The newest Woodford Masters Collection Historic Barrel Entry, going to be in there. The newest Elijah Craig and Larceny Barrel Proofers A123, both of those are going to be in the sample pack. Then 14-year MGP, finished in an apple brandy barrel, Redwood Empire. This is a great pour. And now that this bottle has air in it, I cannot wait for people to get a sample of this and try it. It is phenomenal. Not what it was when I opened it. This thing needed air and it needed time. Then 2 different backbone picks, both 8.5 years old, both MGP. One from ADHD Whiskey, one from the Bourbon Junkies. Both Bardstown origins, the Bottled and Bond Wheater, the High Rye Small Batch, and finally, I will send you a Middle West Spirits barrel pick that I helped pick 2 summers ago. Great bottle. That one's also got a ton of air in it and is drinking wonderfully after being open for about a year. All right, so there we go. Those are the 10 samples. It's going to be a great giveaway. Jeb, you nailed it, dude. You nailed it. And you're going to Garrison Bros tomorrow. Nice. Yeah, that'll wake you up. Adam says, damn sanitation practices. Yeah, right. I want to taste. I want to lick the still. Harrison says, what's up, everyone? Cam, you're going to be looking to try any of those? No, absolutely not. And the reason I say that definitively is because, number one, I think Old Elk is just wildly overpriced. Whether or not it's like, oh, it's a small operation or this or that, like how, no matter which way you slice it, for Old Elk, in my opinion, it's overpriced. And Ohio, I've said this before, I helped out with the OHLQ picks of Middle West Spirits, which have still not dropped. I think I did that like 5 or 6 months ago at this point. I helped out with them, and I was really grateful to be asked amongst like a very diverse group of people, restaurateurs and cocktail people and podcasters, like all sorts of different folks. But I was not confident in the overall consensus of what ended up getting picked because it was just by vote. None of us really knew each other, so we were just like, at the end, they came around and we voted on 2 or 3 picks out of the 8 I think we sampled. And I think maybe one of them that I picked. And look, there were only a few that were really standout bad, but I think like one of the standout bad ones got picked. And I'm just like, I don't know, man. I hate to be that guy and to sound, I hope that doesn't sound pretentious. It just worries me for the way that they go about doing it, you know? But I did what I could. You know, I felt like my palate was on that day, so I felt like when I left, I was like, I picked the best ones I could. And I brought samples of them home, and I still have them, actually. So it's nice to revisit those and kind of like check my work in a way. So, yeah, a lot of these OHLQ picks, the price continues to creep up. even over non-control states for some of this. Yeah, just too pricey. I say avoid like the plague. Plus, it's really not my flavor profile. You know, I love Scotch, but I think a lot of high malt stuff just doesn't come off well. The blend of flavors is not right for even Chattanooga. Like, I liked it when it first came out. It was this really novel thing. And then you just taste enough Chattanooga and you're like, you know, I think I'm good. I think I'm okay on this. There's a reason we have legacy Kentucky distilleries. I don't think that's a bad thing. I don't think it's exclusionary just to be exclusionary of craft distillers. I think it's like they've earned their keep because the flavor profile is right and the balance is right. Christopher says, here's to hoping to taste something dusty. Christopher, if you win, I'll throw something in. I'll throw something cool in for you. Yeah. I got you in for 2 entries, man. Thank you so much for the $10 super chat. And cheers to you, Aiden. I see you're heading out of here. Mark says, the single barrel Saturday was good, though. I didn't make it to that, but I actually kind of wish... I don't wait in lines anymore. I've said that before. But I kind of wish I would have went to the single barrel Saturday thing. Because I feel like that event was actually... Even though it was so spread out at different locations, it was really communal, it felt like, from what I saw on social media. And waiting in line can be a communal kind of... I don't know. You can make friends in line. I feel like that one was something that could have been really nice. And what was the other one they did? The liquidation. Did they call it liquidation? I don't know why I'm thinking that. Tony Bag of Donuts. I'm on my last sip of the Wild Turkey 12. If you paid $150, man, that's not a bad price, to be honest. I mean, considering you have to get these things here from quite far. If someone drives somewhere and picks a bottle up for me and then says, I want $20 for my time and my gas, I'm like, that's cool. But then if you say, like, hey, I got on a plane with this and I flew from Japan, it's like, okay, maybe I'll give you an extra $100. Oh, Jay, pretentious, no snobby. Yes, I'll take it. Jay, I'll take what I can get, man. Marshall, not anymore, man. We used to get, like... I won't talk... I used to buy a lot of Weller 107. When the pandemic first hit and literally all my work went away as a musician, I had to buy a lot of Weller 107 for a particular reason. Anyways, I used to get a case a day. And that's one per location. I could drive around and get a case a day. Probably 2 or 3 days a week. So yeah, it used to be so distributed here. I mean, it was just growing on trees. Not anymore. I think people get like 1 or 2 cases at a time, maybe, and it's not... It used to be every week. It's not every week now. I just didn't stock up on the antique. None of it stayed with me. I had to pay my bills. All right. The more I sip on this Wild Turkey, the more I'm just tasting chocolate, orange, cherry, spicy delight. So let's get rid of this now. And let's taste one more special thing before we get into tonight's blind flight. I can't believe we still have 102 in the chat. Hey, it's about that time, guys. It's 9:08, so there are several other channels on right now. If you are choosing to spend your 9 o'clock hour here on Drums and Drams, I just want to say thank you. I appreciate it so much. There are many options when you fly, and when you fly Drums and Drams, that's how I feel right now. I appreciate you being here. If you flip back and forth, if you bounce out of here to go somewhere else, or if you just got to go to bed, thank you. I appreciate it. Appreciate your super chats, your time. Hit that like button before you leave. Thumbs up. Thank you. And let's do one more pour. Let's do the Parker's Heritage. Let's do the Parker's Heritage Collection double-barreled blend. Here's what we're going to do tonight. We'll taste this. It's the last bit of the sample I have, so I might have to run out of the room real quick and let Sarah smell it because I feel bad drinking the rest of this without her. I did save her. Look, I saved her George T. Stagg and William LaRue Weller 2022. I saved her about 2/3 of an ounce of each. So Don't say I didn't try. And some Pappy 15. At the end of the stream, after the blind flight, after I'm good and schmoozed up, I will taste the other 2 samples Joe sent to me. The Hard Truth Sweet Mash Rye, which I'm going to tell you right now, I had a little nip off the other day. Wild. And Barrel King Finish and Stag Jr. I'll do those at the very end after I draw for the giveaway. So if you really want to stay and see those notes, you can, or you can come back tomorrow and watch the replay. Adam S. says, many options, but none. Adam, thank you, man. That's very cool to hear. Sometimes I feel like I'm just, it's so weird just talking to a camera. It's nice with the chat. With the chat, it's much easier. But you just feel like you're talking into a mic at a camera. And you're just talking about things you're tasting. It feels kind of abstract and esoteric a lot of the time. So thank you for saying that. Positive feedback like that, just every once in a while when I see a comment like that, I'm like, okay. We're doing good. Oh, Zach Jones, what's up, man? Cheers, champ. Yes, I will take that. I'll freaking take that. But I gotta beat Dan and Sean on Tuesday because I think I'm gonna stream on there with them, which would be an honor to be on the Bourbon Junkies channel. Honestly, I think I've been on there once before, popping in late at night, like on some drunken stream. I think maybe that happened. Richie Z, thank you, man, for the two entries here. I got you in. Cheers to you. I will say that with, I think this is the turkey. Yeah, that's the turkey. What else is here? Oh, actually, let me say cheers to you with a little bit of that Woodford Historic Barrel Entry. I'm going to start saying that New York-like. I'm just going to roll with it. Here we go. All right. God, it tastes like coffee cake. Or like tiramisu, actually. Actually, that Woodford tastes like tiramisu. If somebody takes that note, I said it first. I'm just kidding. I don't know. People probably already have reviews of it out. Although I feel like I got this bottle very quickly. Someone threw it up on secondary. I think it was like 210. Like, screw it. I want to taste it. I really want to taste it. Tim Tam Slam. No, I don't think it's all counterfeit. I think there's too much effort that goes into counterfeiting things. No, I don't think so. Although you never know. Sorry, I'm looking at the chat here. Dustin, thanks, man. I know that's a goat, but I felt like it would be funnier if it was just like a random animal, like a cow. Because I can't really see it. I can just see it's a little emoji. But if that was like I don't know, like a raccoon. I don't know. Just choose your animal. A dingo. A wombat. Now I'm in Australia. I'm thinking Australia because I'm thinking export bottles. Brian says the Hard Truth Sweet Mash Rye is really good. Future iterations are even better. Wow. Daniel, man, thank you for the $20 super chat. I'm gonna get you in here before I forget. Daniel P in the chat, that is, guys. Throwing in 4 entries to tonight's giveaway. Thank you, Daniel. Daniel is just such a supporter, man. I don't know. Daniel's the reason I got to try my first Pappy, and he sent me the craziest samples over the years. It's crazy to say over the years. It's been a while. John says, anyone not so pretentious on these other whiskey tube? I'm not sure exactly what you're asking, John. I feel like a lot of people aren't pretentious. There are certainly pretentious things. Mostly, I think, in the Scotch and the wine world. In whiskey tube, Anyways, let me get this Parker's Heritage poured out. I'll throw it in one of these glasses first, but I might have to transfer it to a glass with a wider lip because it is 132.2 proof. Oh no, Amy, did you break a Glen? Oh no. Why, when you break a Glen, does it make 5 times the amount of glass that was there when the when the bugger was whole? I feel, yeah, just the explosion of glass. Ugh. I'm sorry. I hate that. Richie, I hope I do well. Dang, Daniel, you're going to Australia, man. Where are you going to go? I mean, Sarah did her student teaching in Melbourne, but she went to Sydney. She went to New Zealand. I think she went north, too, if I recall. I'm not sure that she made it out to Perth. But I don't know. It'd be great to go out there. Oh, just teasing you, says John. I'll take it, man. Thank you, Daniel. Andrew Surfling says, don't cry over spilt milk. It could have been whiskey. Amen to that. Andrew, are you a new name in the chat? Thank you for supporting the channel, for getting into tonight's giveaway. Are you a new name in the chat, though, Daniel? Andrew. I'm looking at Daniel on the giveaway sheet down here on the numbers doc that I've got open. Shout out Amy for the numbers doc. John says, any comments like these from me are all in good fun. I got you, John. Oh, going to Auckland, then Sydney, then finish in Melbourne for the F1 race. Dude, very cool. Not a cheap trip, but I'm sure a worthwhile trip. Holy crap. So I said earlier in the stream, and I'll reiterate now with more information. The videos that I have in the bag right now that I just need to edit. Obviously, guys, I just put out the Elijah Craig A123 video. It's doing extremely well, so if you haven't checked it out, please go check it out. At the very least, throw a like on the video. It just helps out, you know. But the stats on that video, the reach, it's been very good. The feedback has been good, which I'm excited about. And right now, analytically on the channel, I'm back to where I've had 2 spikes in the channel's history, right? And I've had 2 kind of long layoffs on the channel, which I'm hoping at all costs to avoid again and to actually get this thing rolling into the tens of thousands of subs. That's not what it's about, but for me, I feel like I've gone really deep, and there's a really great core group of people that support the channel. Just a great audience in the live chats and stuff like that. And I think it's time to expand and branch out a little bit. So I'm hoping to avoid any future layoffs, but in both of those instances, it was like summer 21 and then maybe like fall of 2022 or maybe late summer. I had just growth, and like things were rolling, and then I fell away. I'm in that stage right now, so don't let me fall away. I've got 5 videos, I think 4 or 5 in the can. William LaRue, George T. Stagg, Thomas H. Handy, 2022. So 3 B-Tax. And I just recorded the Parker's Heritage Double Barrel Blend review. So I'll give you some thoughts now. If my thoughts now differ from the review, I guess that stinks. But I'm just taking a risk by doing that. And I am going to be recording 2 more videos tomorrow, I believe. Larceny A123 and a Bernheim kind of talking head video. Not really a review. So, again, trying to branch out, do things differently. And then after that, I'm going to try to batch a few blind tastings with Sarah, if I can do that. All right, so let's get into this real quick. I see I got a $10 super chat via Venmo from Adam. Adam S. Okay, thank you, Adam. Let me get you in real quick before I start talking about Adam. That's a cool last name, dude, by the way. Not to put you on the spot. Thank you. 2 entries for the giveaway. I got you, Adam. Rolling the dice. That's your emoji. Cool. Cool. All right, so Parker's Heritage Double Barreled Blend. What's going on here? 132.2, which is 66.1% ABV. This is 2/3 13-year, 1/3 15-year. So what does that make this? Like 13.66 years old, if you do that? I don't know. Math. Basically, the 2/3 of this that's 13 years old was rebarreled for a month and then taken out of brand new barrels. They weren't super toasted, super charred. It was just regular number 3 char barrels. And then the other third of the blend is just 15-year with no additional maturation that was then blended into the additionally matured 13-year. If that's confusing, I'm sorry. But if you think about rebarreling, your mind should immediately go to Dixon Deadman, immediately go to Kentucky Owl batches, I think batch 10 and earlier, or is it batch 9 and earlier? But the older Kentucky Owl bourbon batches, rebarreled stuff, incredible. And I'll tell you what, one incredible rebarreled thing is actually something that Joe sent me, Joe W., and it was a backbone pick that was rebarreled. It was MGP, and it was just, I mean, I tasted it on a stream a few months ago, and I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. So in this glass, the Parker's Heritage is not doing so well. It's just all alcohol, so I'm going to get a different glass. All right, here we go. The old Bennuaine glass. Oh, that's so much better. Glassware is so important. So important, especially if you're dealing with extremes. If you're dealing with a super high proof or just a whiskey that comes off very ethanol forward, or if you've got like an 80 proofer or a 10 cup 10, throw a 10 cup 10 and a Glencairn, right? It's got a really narrow top. Don't throw a 10 cup 10 in something like this or a Tua glass, which is like the Irish whiskey glass with the large bowl. That's not for a 10 cup 10. This is not for a 10 cup 10. This is for really high proofers. Man. Sorry, I'm just looking at the chat. We're losing subs because We're losing viewers because I'm just looking at the chat, smelling whiskey, just chuckling to myself. Sorry. I will taste something. Here, let me just taste this. All right. I got a couple super chats here on Venmo. Tim Tam Slam with 1 entry. Thank you. Tim Tam Slam, gotcha. Actually, let me get your real name here. If it's going to load on my... Okay, well, now my Venmo won't load, so that's just fantastic. Okay, I got you. Tim, I got your name here. I will not say it on the stream. And I got you in. Thank you so much for that. And Joe Waninger. But it's not Waninger, right? It's Waninger. Does that sound right, Joe? I will never forget that. If we get this right now, I'll never freaking forget it. Bucket list trip for sure, says Daniel. Yeah, to Australia then and New Zealand. And Matt says, I'm convinced shattered glens create fallout that will destroy any flooring within a 3-room radius. I hate that when you feel like I'm really... Can you guys believe it? I'm super anal about cleaning things up like that. I mean, I'll spend 20 extra minutes just trying to look for a teeny little piece of glass somewhere. Part of it's for me, part of it's for the cat, part of it's for my OCD. And you can kind of tell what kind of a person I am if you watch this channel. I know, dude. You like break it in the kitchen and then you find like on the floor and then you find a piece like on the counter 3 feet up and you're like, what? Dave won a bottle of Macallan 30. What kind of giveaway is that, Dave? What? Are you going to crack that thing? Like, are you going to save it for an occasion or are you going to crack that open? That is very cool, man. Because, look, I've had some Macallan from the 90s and early 2000s. Like, even just Macallan 12. You don't need the 18. Just the quality of the sherry casks on the 12-year stuff. Late 90s, early 2000s, which puts the distillation, mid-80s sometimes. It just kind of depends. Mid-80s, early 90s distillation. What you're talking about is a 92 distillation at minimum. Those casks, those are going to be ridiculous casks. Holy crap, man. Shauna picked up a bottle of EC 123. It is so good. Jeb, I've tried to stop supporting, but I can't. I wish I knew how to quit. That's funny. Oh, thanks, Andrew. I appreciate that. Well, thanks for saying something tonight. Thanks for the super chat. And It's awesome. Okay, I'm scrolling. Matt needs a... Who's going to hook Matt up with an A123? Maybe Matt, I might see if I can... If you... Well, I don't know. I don't know what distribution is like in Colorado. If you're super behind and you don't have one on the way, let me know. I might be able to get you one sooner than later. Okay, guys, I'm going to catch up here. You come across 12 ECBB C922. Realistically, how many do you buy? If your friend already has one and it's open, at most buy 2 more. Look, I used to be a person that's like, I'm going to stock up on everything. And then my bunker was stupid, number one. The amount of money that I spent was stupid. Still working on that. This is my rule for myself. If it's a bottle I like, I want a backup. If it's a top 20% of bottles I own is what is kind of the criteria, then I want a backup. If it's reasonable, okay? Then if it's like a bottle that I feel like I want to taste and it's so good that in 20 years I want to remember how this tastes. Certain single barrels are like that for me. Remus Volstead, there's a couple of just releases that I'm like, my God, this does everything for me. Then I'll have 2 backups. But when my bottle runs out, I'm not cracking that backup. I'm saving that backup for an occasion. And then I have something in my head of like, and I don't know that I have experienced this yet, if there's an everyday sipper that I have the opportunity to buy a case of, like that, then I say go for it. But at $70, $80 for a batch that's it's a good Elijah Craig batch. It's not like they used to be. I just say buy 1 or 2 extras and call it a day. Leave some for the next person to snag on that. But like if I came across a case of Weller 12, a lot of people out there are like, I'm just going to buy 1 and I'm going to leave it for the next guy. That's great. I'm probably going to buy the case, and I'm going to look, leaving it for the next guy is very generous. I'm also the kind of person that's going to take that Weller 12 and give it to everybody that comes over to my house or that I go to a bottle share. It's kind of the same to me, but if I could afford Weller 12 as a daily drinker, that would be a daily drinker. Same thing for Eagle Rare Store Picks. I would buy a case because I just love that stuff. Yeah, Jeb, I imagine these glasses, same with wine glasses. You clink the base a little too hard, or you clink the bowl and you're like, ah, when you're hand washing. Okay, let me scroll. Dustin, I'm not putting that on the screen, bro. I love you, though. Oh, Matt Madness is hard times, huh? Matt says Macallan 30 is like some shit out of a movie. Yes, it is. The kind of giveaway you need to do. Yeah, East Palestine is pretty far north. Probably 2.5 hours away from me, I would think, or 2:15 or 2:45, somewhere in that range. I know, it's a crazy disaster. I don't want to get into too many details on that, though, Marshall. Not details, speculations, Are they speculations? I have no idea. I literally have no idea. It's interesting to read a lot, though. Matt just got B5. Matt, if you don't have someone like imminently sending you an A123, just let me know, dude. Because a buddy of mine just picks them up in Minnesota, and they were a little more expensive. Like he paid $93 a bottle, so honestly, it just depends on what you want to pay. Because I'm gonna get one from him as a backup if he wants to give me one, but I would happily turn that over to you if you need one for the review. Okay, I got to talk about this whiskey. I'm so sorry. It actually, because this is a double-barreled product, it just needs more time in the glass. And that time has helped it so much. So, if you've ever had any of those Kentucky Owl bourbon batches in the chat, you know that a double-barreled product has a particular viscosity. It's super syrupy with not fruit notes. Typically, like the double-barreled process to me lends itself more to just having a really decadent caramel, but butterscotch, brown sugar, vanilla, those kinds of notes. And that's what this Parker's Heritage has. It just smells like the inside of a pecan pie. That real gooey, rich filling of a pecan pie. But the Parker's Heritage actually does have a really big dark cherry, like Luxardo cherry note to it, which is common Heaven Hill of this age. And there's something bright about it too, like menthol and a little sappiness. And when I say sappiness, what I'm kind of referring to is if you've ever had any of the dusty Elijah Craig Pirate bottles, they do have this bright green note to them. When I say green, I mean kind of outdoorsy, mossy, sappy sometimes is what I call it. And that note plays in with ethanol. So it actually, this is going to sound weird, but sometimes ethanol just comes off like ethanol, right? You smell it and you're like, that smells like hand sanitizer or alcohol. But sometimes that ethanol, yes, it can obviously have fruit and caramel flavors underneath it, but sometimes the ethanol has a character. And you have to have a note that is bright, like ethanol, to blend in with it in the whiskey on the nose. What are those kinds of notes? White pepper, that Wild Turkey 12. White pepper blends in with the ethanol. Vanilla blends in with ethanol, in my opinion, because it's a bright note. White cake notes from Youth sometimes blend in. And sappiness, something kind of green, not herbal, sappy, mossy. But that's a little darker. Really sap, like if you break a dandelion stem and you lick that stem, it's got that sappiness to it. Yeah, that's totally what's here. And it reminds me a little bit of those pirate bottles from Elijah Craig, which makes sense. This is older stuff. It's rebarreled, yada, yada, yada. All right. So it just smells just crazy decadent. It's, wow, it's high proof. It attacks. It's very good, but wow, that is a strong, excuse me, that is a strong whiskey. It made me burp immediately. My stomach's like, stop it. Don't give that to me. Anyways, looks like I'm crying now. Marshall, don't pull the trigger. In my opinion, the newer batches, I've only tried one, but they taste super young. I think at 210, I say steer clear, man. Yes, Richie, please hit that like, guys. Thank you so much. Oh, DeMarcus says, we've got Larceny A123 in Colorado. Interesting how they do distribution. Matt, it sounds like you need to talk to DeMarcus about the A123, at least the Larceny. Yeah, Adam, you're right. But look, frankly, I operate sometimes under an assumption that I should not operate under, which is that everybody's involved in some sort of local buy-sell trade group on Facebook. Because if you are involved in that, typically you can find even 2020 batches of Elijah Craig Barrel Proof for like 80, 90 bucks, like secondary, which is really not even a secondary price for those. And hell, if I went back, I would pay $120 a bottle for C919, C920, B520, A119, A117. I would pay up to $200. So in the event that the 12-year age statement disappears, secondary prices will go up. I don't think they'll go up astronomically. They are starting to creep up right now a little bit on some of those bottles. So in my opinion, if you actually want to stock up on Elijah Craig Barrel Proof, and if you are, based on my assumption, in a buy-sell trade local group on Facebook, my advice is do that now, because it's only going to get more scarce. And the flavor profile is getting better, but there's no clear return right now to the old flavor profile, and I don't think there's going to be. Jeb, was that batch 22 or 122? Anything like batch 90 and before, that's a buy at 210. Dustin, I'm not familiar with Matt Rife. No. Smirk says Mac 30. The fact that you even tried Mac 30 is amazing. Is so oak forward. Andrew, I would also have that debate. I would buy 2 of them. I would probably buy 2 of them if I were you. Jeb says, don't hand wash your nice wine glasses. Dude, fucking jeez. Sorry. Pardon my French. I'm talking about not breaking glasses. And I legitimately just poured out half of what was in my glass of that Parker's Heritage on my keyboard. So hang on 1 second. I'm going to have to press the space bar a lot to wipe this up. So if the stream goes away, I'll be right back. Well, shit, did it go away? I still hear music. Hang on. No, okay. It just opened a new tab. God. No, actually, I feel like I'm nailing the hand washing. I've got the little Cairn cleaner. If you guys have ever hand washed like your Glencairns or anything, the Cairn cleaner is a thing on Amazon. It's really handy. So I wash my glasses with those, and I polish it off with the Riedel cloths, that, you know, those like microfiber cloths or whatever. Blackstar says, cheers, had to enter the giveaway. Did you enter via Venmo? Yeah, Dale, I gotcha. Cool. Let me put you in here. 3 entries, man. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, Richie, I do remember 2020 when, dude, even A120, people didn't like it so much. It was kind of hot. A120 is great. Tony, that's crazy, man. You got to meet the master distiller, Mac. Dave, yeah, Dave, what is SRP on Macallan 30? Joe, that was Sarah's half. I need to go see if she's awake. If she's not awake, then... But Sarah hasn't been feeling very good, so she wouldn't want to taste it anyways. Alex, if money is no issue, I said that Woodford is a very interesting thing to try. It tastes like tiramisu. It's totally not a Woodford profile. Basically tastes like it's just coffee and dark chocolate forward combined with the profile of the very fine rare in terms of like the apricot and the bright orange marmalade type notes. Big mouthfeel on it, but obviously under proof. But for a 90.4 proof, you've never tasted a bigger 90.4 proof, not in terms of ethanol, just in terms of body. So it's really cool. But I say if you have a bourbon budget of $150 a month, Alex, I don't think you have a budget of $150 a month. But if you had that budget, that would not be the singular bottle to buy that month. I would say go buy 2 things at 75 or 3 things at 50. The Turkey 12, I like it. It's not perfect. It's a little out of balance. Like the front of the palate, middle palate, back of the palate are 3 totally different things. But it's a cool experience nonetheless. Like I still like it. Matt, man, A117 for when I grow up. I know when are we gonna grow up, dude? No, A117 is just so good. It tastes like a Dusty. It really just almost purely tastes like a Dusty now. So okay, Adam, I couldn't remember. 96 is the cutoff. Yeah, for Joseph Magnus Cigar Blend. Okay. Hang on, I gotta go see if Sarah's up. I just looked into the bedroom, the lights off. No Parker's Heritage for Sarah. That's okay. That's okay. She gets great whiskey. All right, last sip of this. This is good stuff. Sorry, we're 90 minutes in. We haven't even gotten to the blind flight. Amy, I'm sorry if I'm keeping you awake. Jesus. Because Amy has to send me questions for the palate round of this. Because she only sent me nosing questions. She said the palate round questions will reveal some things that she can't tell me up front. So... Oh my God, that Parker's Heritage is so good. And I cannot remember what I said in my review. It's still a little bit ethanol. It's still just hot. So many whiskeys these days are coming off hot to me. I don't know what it is. Maybe I'm drinking too much wine. But that thing in the mid palate is a superstar whiskey. Front, a little heavy on the alcohol. So sweet in the mid palate. I want to think about the finish now as we get into it, though. Because this Carter Mayfield, who is frequent commenter, Bourbon Junkies page, different YouTube videos. Not sure if he's ever really in the live chats, but mentioned to me that he had an issue with the finish on this. So that's my last sip. I want to think about it very quickly. No, I like the finish. The finish is just leather. And I like leathery whiskey, so. Amy says, I don't sleep. Same. DeMarcus, very glad I found this channel. I live in Denver now, but moving back to Columbus in the summer. Awesome, dude. First off, let me get your super chat in so I don't forget. DeMarcus W, 2 entries. Gotcha. And that's cool, man. Hey, reach out when you move back to Columbus. I'll still be here. Probably never leaving. Although I like Columbus. I really do like Columbus. Richie has had 2 early Parkers. Have you had the Promise of Hope? Because I'm so curious about that. Jeb has a train in his mouth, and that's all I read. So, sorry, Jeb. I'm just kidding, man. I opened that Coy Hill I was talking to you about. Geez, it's robust at 143. And yeah, you got a really high proof one. You just can't drink more than a pour. I agree with you. I can't, to me, if I'm at the end of a night and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to melt my face. Last pour, I pour like half an ounce of the Coy Hill. Ooh, it's so good, though. Okay, I think I'm caught up on Venmo Super Chats. See, Rob, I actually don't like B517. I just, there's something about it I'm not a fan of, but I know a lot of people do, so like I'm not here to rain on anybody's parade about it. I mean, yeah, I'm just staring at a wall. I have an entire shelf of Elijah Craig Barrel Proof, and it just hit me how many of them there are and how many profiles there are to know. So yeah, there's more than enough to go around for everybody. Okay. Andrew, this is a great pickup. C920 at $90. Yeah. No complaints about that. Tim Tam, any predictions? I'm going to get to the blind flight next, guys. It's time. Sorry for taking so long. This is why I start at 8, though. So if it does go late, like 2.5 hour stream is only 10:30. That's not that bad. 10:30 is a lot different than 11:30, I think, perception-wise. I did not compare the turkey to the 12-year to the 101. The 101's actually really good. Same front of the palate issue, where it's really kind of intense up front. This carries through some of that ethanol into the mid palate, though. But it is Wild Turkey 101. It's a very cheap, affordable bottle. No complaints. No complaints about something at that price point. Okay. So let's get into this blind flight now. And I'll have to pull up my email so that I can read off what Amy sent my way. I don't have any predictions on Jack Daniel's 12. But they are 107 proof now. And I think Jack 10... 97 proof. I think the one thing that Jack 10 suffered from was a little bit of that proof issue. It was just chocolate-covered bananas and really sweet but also funky oak. And with Jack Daniels, you typically don't get funky oak because it's never old enough to develop funk. It's just old enough to develop intensity, sweetness. I think the 12 at 107 proof might be... I think that bottle could have potential to be like Whiskey of the Year stuff. Depending on how it is. Who out there has ever tasted 12-year Jack Daniels at that proof? Probably not a lot of people. So I don't know how it develops. Is it just going to get more banana? I find that those whiskeys actually age the banana note out of them, which makes them feel less cheap, makes them feel more refined. So if we get even more chocolate, funky oak, sweet oak, less banana, maybe an additional fruit component, I think the Jack Daniel's 12 could be like Whiskey of the Year stuff. Whit Hesser says, yo, Cam, good to see you. Thank you for jumping in. And now we got Lito with the keyboard fund. I know, I've spilled so much whiskey on this keyboard. I have a backup, but it's a real POS. So anyways, Lito, thank you, man. I got you in for 4. Aged banana. There's a joke there somewhere. Scott, in my opinion, I can only speak for the singular batch I've had, and I don't know where it is. There's a sample shelf in front of me. It was in the 120s maybe, or the 1-teens. It was not worth retail price. I've actually heard that some of the 100+ numbered batches are okay. I don't know if that's true. So because based on my singular experience, I would say no. But that might be wrong. Guys, I hate to do this. I have to run to the restroom very quickly. I try not to do this on streams. But this is going to be a long night. So instead of suffering through the next, 45 minutes, I would like to not suffer. So let me grab an extra glass, one more glass. I only have 4 here. Whoops. So I've got my 5 glasses. I'm going to hit the restroom real quick. I'll be back in 90 seconds. Let me change the music for you while I'm gone. The fact that we did not lose a single person on the counter, I have a counter up here on my screen. 83, I think I left with 83. I'll freaking take that. I will take that. I don't know what I was going to say. I have no idea. I just realized I have not been drinking any water. I'm going to keep it on the table so I remember this time. All right, let's get into this. I don't think I need my keyboard. I'm trying to make a little space in front of me. I've got the cards. Let me make sure this camera is okay. And I've got a test card now. Great. I love this, guys. I love doing blinds on streams and being able to show you the pours ahead of time. It is so fun for me. So I hope it's fun for you to kind of watch these things happen along the way and be able to see the pours. Dude, it was a 1, but it was a long one. No, Matt. Guys, I absolutely love Nancy Fraley. I love Nancy Fraley. She's a cool ass dude. She's a cool ass. Why did I say dude? I mean, I call my wife dude. Nancy Fraley's cool as shit. Okay, let me just say it that way. And her whiskeys are incredible. And I love the fact that she hangs out in streams like this. She's like active on Reddit and like different. I've seen like old Armagnac forums, and she's just awesome. So it's not a reflection in my mind on Nancy. This is maybe part of the issue when you start to get to know people. Not that I've met Nancy on a stream. We've communicated. I think she's awesome, but like I don't know her. But even the little that I do know Nancy, it's hard to say something bad about one of her products. And that kind of shows you when people get sent free things or you get to know people in the industry. People are right. There's conflicts of interest. But I have just got to be honest. Like the new Magnus cigar blends are just not it. And the age statements that she used to put on the website, she would say it's a blend of 14 to 20 year barrels. That's what she would say on the website for the mother blend, and then talk about the different barrels and the tasting notes. There's no age statement anymore. And I know she moved back to, I think, all MGP, if not mostly MGP. So and you taste the flavor profile, and it reminds you of 6 to 8 year 36% rye MGP with an Armagnac finish. But that finish impacts differently when the whiskey's that much younger. It doesn't make it fuller and richer in the dark fruit way that it did when you were dealing with a lot of high proof aged Barton with MGP in the mix. It impacts it in more of like Armagnac finishes impact younger whiskey with more apricot notes. Sometimes like maybe even grilled pineapple. It's more mid spectrum fruits and richness, stone fruits, right? But more of the mid spectrum of that, not like plums and big fig notes and stuff like that. Yeah. Anyways, it just makes me sad because it was such a great brand. Well, Nancy, from what I understand, people wanted her to bring back more MGP in the blend, and I don't know whose decision it was, whether finances were involved. I'm sure it's cheaper what they're doing now, probably bringing in potentially younger MGP. I'm just speculating, of course. But if Nancy, artistically, if you want to call it that, wanted to go to MGP more, the only available MGP is going to be younger stuff. So I don't know. What? Matt, what are you saying, bro? Yeah, I wash my hands. Come on now. Come on. But when you wash your hands, like I have to have really mild soap at home. I'm so picky about smells after getting into whiskey over the last 5 years or whatever, 4 years. I can't use a soap that's like really scented, because then when I go to pick up a glass and smell it, all I smell is my hand. So you just got to get like the most bland smelling soap. I can't speak tonight, and I promise I'm not that intoxicated. Oh, Amy, it was 131. Is that the one that Matt said that he's got? He got a 131. Okay, so it could just be the 131. I don't know. That's interesting. Holy shit, Toshi. Oh, I got to bring my keyboard back real quick and get his freaking 10 entries into the giveaway. Oh my god, dude. Okay. Well, Toshi, what are you doing, man? 10 entries. Thank you for the freaking super chat, dude. That's legendary. Watching your stream is helping me stay sane while I shell out nearly $2,000 to get a gas leak fixed. Oh, that sucks, man. And also, I hope you're safe. Gas leaks are scary things. They found the leak. Good times. Good news is they found the leak. Fun times. Haven't poured anything yet tonight, but I think I need something in the glass. Yeah, sounds like you need something in the glass. Jeez, man. Well, best of luck with that, Toshi. Just don't sell a George T. Stagg 09 to pay for it. Keep one of those. If you have a backup. DC says soap is overrated. Just don't touch anything. Richie, I do not have any... I've never actually tried any Wyoming whiskey. Matt, that is hilarious. Sandeep, actually, what's funny, he says Cam has taken tasting to the next level, meaning he changed his lifestyle. Yeah. Truthfully, man, like, everything for me is about what I hear or what I smell at all times. It's like I'm thinking music, or I'll hear pitches, like cars going by. You know, any sounds you hear, I'm just like, oh, that, you know, you're hearing like a minor third, and you're just like, but you, I don't know. Just listening to things is fun. That sounds so geeky. And also smelling things, just walking through places and smelling stuff. And I was walking outside the other day, and I smelled banana Laffy Taffy. And I don't know if someone had like a meth lab or something, but if meth smells like banana Laffy Taffy, I might be in, you know? Anyways, we're going to get into this blind flight now. I freaking promise. An hour and 45 deep. I have a journal to write things down in. I'm taking a page from, I think, Matt's book. I think Matt uses a journal. And I was trying to find one that lays flat. The reason I'm trying to find a lay flat journal is because I bought what I thought was a really badass looking journal on Amazon, right? It's got this kind of rope thing that it closes with. And then you open it up, and it's got these rustic looking old pages. And I was going to use this in my blind tasting videos as kind of like a note-taking thing, a prop almost. But this journal sucks. God, I knocked something else over. This journal sucks because if you don't open it dead center, well, now it's working better. No, but it closes itself very easily. So the first couple pages, first 10, 20, 30 pages, you can't do anything with. And Sarah, my wife, journals a lot on her own. And I was like, I bought this, and I showed it to her, and she's like, oh, you made a mistake. She's like already been down this rabbit hole of like buying different journals. She's like, come on, you can't get something like that. It's never going to work. So I got this nice little journal that lays flat even on page 1. Yeah, there we go. So I can take notes for the blind. And I bought a nice pen. I was just thinking about what would look good on a video. A nice pen and a nice journal. Yeah, someone gave Adriana shit for taking notes on the Matt Madness stream the other night. And didn't she win? I'm just saying. Also, it's fun. It's like if you got to take notes when you're dealing with a lot of questions in different rounds. You want to parse out all that information, and not only your guesses, but I write my guesses down. I also write all my thoughts next to it of like, maybe I'm wrong for this reason. So then when you get to a palette or you get to a question that starts to inform those things, you might find out of your 3 choices from the previous question that the one you chose was probably not right, and maybe your second choice that you second guessed yourself on was correct based on the next question or what you get on the palette, etc. So it's actually, in my opinion, really smart to take notes on a lot of these bottles. Okay? Maybe I'm just trying to make excuses. You got it, Matt. No, Dustin, I'm not trying to sound like that. Oh, no. Okay, Amy sent me the second email with the palette questions attached. Thank you, Amy. I am not going to open that. However, oh, there it is. Okay, so I'm going to scroll down. I have an email about medical marijuana. Who sent me that? I don't know why I got that email. Interesting. So I'm going to go back, Amy, and find your last email with your nosing questions. Totally random blind on the way. Oh, okay. You sent it off that last one. Okay, here we go. So I've got the nosing questions up now. Amy says, no, me. No, really, not me. Yeah, no, it was not Amy on the medical marijuana. So this side with the letters. So, okay, guys, this side with letters, this side with answers. So I'm only looking at the side with the letters. Great. Oh, okay, you folded that over. Gotcha. Cool. All right, so what I'm going to do as normal, 84 still in chat after almost 2 hours. That's freaking very cool. Thank you, guys. Hit the like button, yada, yada, yada. I appreciate it. I will show you up close what I'm tasting before I taste it or nose it in the first round. This is, again, kind of training for Matt Madness. Amy, remind me, Amy, who sent you... It was Roy. Roy sent you 5 numbers from just random numbers between 1 and 100, and Amy used those numbers to randomly pick bottles from her collection. So this is not only double blind, this is almost like a triple blind, if that exists, of 5 different samples. I'm going to go ahead and pour them all out. Those were her instructions. Pour all the samples out. And I'm going to go through and try to answer these questions. So I'm not really doing nose palate. I'm not really doing like age proof, distillery, type for all of them. I might be able to give you those guesses at the end, depending on the notes I take. But I'm just going to answer the questions Amy sent my way based on the samples that Roy basically dictated for Amy to send, given these random numbers that he sent in the last live stream. This is going to be a really cool way to do it, because usually people are putting flights together, and as someone who receives a blind flight, you're thinking to yourself as a test taker, which I like taking tests. So you're either thinking like, are they trying to make this super obvious for me and play it off like it's not obvious, or are they trying to trick me? And you can actually get a lot of questions right just by thinking about what their intent as the test proctor is, or the test designer. In this case, there's really none of that from pour to pour. That's why this is cool. Travis, man, what is up? Stopping in to give the like. Thank you, man. Good to see your name popping up. Almost lost my fancy pen. I never understood people that had fancy pens until I spent like $20 on this on Amazon, which is just, to me, that's so insane to spend $20 on a pen. Then you think about how much you spend on whiskey. And then I wrote with this pen, and I was like, man, if this is a $20 like shitty, like probably Chinese made like Amazon pen, imagine what like some opulent $200 pen writes like. Yeah, it's probably like 10% better, but I guess we all have our vices. Okay. So, let me show you guys what is in sample A. Okay, so as usual, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here, and you're going to see me lift this card up, and I'm not looking at it, and I'm going to bring it here. Okay, and now I'm going to turn my head now and flip the card up. This is in glass A, okay? Let me flip it down. Let me zoom all the way, zoom in on this so you can, I don't know how clear this is for you guys, or, how, like big on your screen it is. So, okay, I'm going to flip it down, turn my head back, and I'm coming back. Okay, so that's in glass A. Put those over here. And the question for glass A on the nose is this a rye bourbon or wheated bourbon? Oh, Daniel, do you know pens? Is that like an epic pen? A feather and ink, dude. No, look, feather and ink for that first journal I bought, that would have totally worked. But that thing's terrible. Oh, I can smell this. Like, I could just hold, oh, that smells so familiar to me. Oh, that smells so familiar. Wow, that is so full of flavor. So, what's the question? Is it a rye bourbon or wheated bourbon? You guys saw what it was. It smells finished. Like, my first impression was, oh my God, that's a finished bourbon. And it smells pretty high proof. But now that I'm smelling it more, I'm not smelling... God, if it was finished, what would it be? It almost smells like a It almost smells like a backbone pick, like a short barrel. Sometimes MGP short barrels develop this really intense note to them. The color on this is stupid dark. It's got some like amber tone. No, it's even darker than that. It's got some red in this. Amy, what in the crap is this whiskey? Bourbon rye. It's not a rye. It's either a bourbon or a wheated bourbon. And I'm getting the impression on this that this is some sort of high proof wheated bourbon. So, notes on A. Question 1. I try to write these things down. So sorry if you guys are, I'm going to try to keep this interesting as I go through this process. But I guess I can kind of talk you through my process here. Like if I'm doing this on Matt Madness. For me, if this, is it rye, bourbon, or wheated bourbon? My process is to first identify or eliminate rye right away. So I'm looking for spearmint. I'm looking for dill. Really intense lemon. If it's like a Knob Creek rye, you've got to factor in the fact that sometimes peanut notes can cover rye in a Knob Creek pick. So you have to look for that. That's like the really subtle kind of rye. And then the other one is the Heaven Hill ryes, which are barely legal. You're going to get, in that case, it's really not dill. It's a deeply caramelized spearmint. Okay, so first and foremost is like rye or not. Eliminate the rye or it is. I don't believe this is rye. Now, to me, super dark, that to me says it's either finished or highly aged or high proof. Could be all three. When I think wheated or not wheated, immediately you ask, do I smell wheat grain? And at a high age or with a finish, you might not smell that wheat grain. It tends to go away with age. It's going to be gone with a finish. But do I smell rye if it's a bourbon, if it's a rye bourbon? The only spice note I get in this is white pepper. That happens on wheaters. You get cinnamon and or white pepper. What you don't get is the full-bodiedness of a rye. There's a density to a rye with those spices. And also you get extra things with the rye. You might get a little herbal note or, a lot of different things. So this could go either way for me. It's sitting in between wheated bourbon or bourbon. So my first guess on this would be wheated bourbon because I'm also telling myself or asking myself as a test taker, why throw wheated bourbon in the question unless it's probably the wheated bourbon and the others are a distraction? I also think about it that way. Right? It also smells dusty, though. But I'm going to... Fuck, it smells dusty, doesn't it? It smells dusty. It smells sickeningly rich. It's wheated. That's wheated. Come on. All right, on to B. Let me get B ready. Same process. Now, before I show you this, B, country of origin, Canada, Japan, or Scotland. So here come the hard questions, all right? So let me get this here. And let me turn this on. Okay. And now I'm going to turn my head. I need to get my cursor on this. Okay. Turn my head. Bring this up. There we go. So this is in glass B. 3, 2, 1. Let me know if you guys need to see these again, by the way. I'm going to put it down now. Okay. I'm going to turn my head back and bring myself on the screen. Okay. So let's get this out of here. Make sure that's good. All right, glass B. Country of origin, Canada, Japan, or Scotland. My mom says, Jody says hi. Hello, Jody. Hello, Mom. Oh, they're at the Barry Manilow concert in Vegas. Awesome. Oh, so this is either Scotland or Japan on this. And my immediate impression is that this is from Scotland. But there is a hint of peat. Typically, when I think of Japanese whiskeys, I think of a lot of things that have just a little bit of a smokiness to them across the board. This has kind of the this has kind of like the Dewar's smokiness to it. Okay, so like first I go through when I'm thinking this, is it Canadian? Canadian would be obvious. You would get that Canadian rye character, that kind of really vegetal, nondescript whiskey, you know. Adam, yes, this is exactly what I'm thinking. So I don't know. Is this fun for you guys? Do you want to hear what I'm thinking, or do you just want to I can just make my guesses. It's up to you guys. So to me, this has like an Aberfeldy or a Dewar's kind of smoke to it. So what I'm getting on the nose, I guess I should identify that. Heather honey. Yeah, actually, this could be Dalwhinnie. That heather honey note, Dalwhinnie this could be the Dalwhinnie 15. I would venture to say this is actually maybe a Diageo product. Maybe this is like it's a little more flavorful than a Cragganmore 12. Dalwhinnie 15 feels to me like that could be it. So the biggest note, though, it's like a hint of peat in the background. It's not peated whiskey. So I'm going, okay, it's not Islay. It doesn't feel like an unpeated Islay. I feel like I'm in the Highlands right now. I'm getting big maltiness. I know that sounds stupid, but look, color of this whiskey, to me, it feels like it's probably colored. Probably has a little color in the mix. Given the nose on this versus the color, I feel like it should be a brighter color. So it feels like it's colored, which means possibly a Diageo product. They're known to color their stuff. There's a little bit of a roasted almond on this, so there could be a hint of a sherry cask maturation, second or third fill blended in. But otherwise, it's just really nice, big, round honey notes. That heather honey, that kind of floral thing, and then the peat is very much in the background. So I'm going to say Scotland on that. That feels very Scottish to me. My mom with the super chat. Thank you, Mom. The house is not playing tonight, though. All right, glass 3, or C, glass C. I'm going to show you now, and the question is the proof above or below 100? So here we go. This is going to be cool. Let me get this out here. Keep it down. Okay. Throw this up. We're good, and I'm going to turn my head now and throw this up. So I think we're on the screen now. 3, 2, 1, going down, turning back, and here we go. Okay. So glass C, it's going to move the test card. Above or below 100. Color on this, okay, we could be in America. Oh, that is freaking, it smells like barbecue sauce. Maybe it's just because I'm coming off of what I think is a 12 to 15 year Highland Scotch. This is a weird one. This is right around... Amy, I know why you asked the question. This is right around 100 proof, probably. And the more you smell something like this, it can either start to fade or it can just accumulate and crawl up your nostrils. So it's important in a proof guess like this to not sit and nose it to death. If it's high rye content, it's going to crawl up your nose and it's going to come off proofier. If it's a weeded thing, you can convince yourself it's over the proof because you sit and smell it too much and it accumulates. So there's a lot of ways to go about this. So for me, it's like I smell it, I want to get away from it, smell it again, get away from it. It feels bright. It feels a little bit white pepper spice, kind of oak spice forward. Amy says 50-50. I know, right? So these kinds of questions, it's like I'm not going to say don't worry yourself, but Don't let whatever the answer is in a question like this for Matt Madness dictate your next answer. Don't think you have it figured out and then start basing a bottle guess on over or under 100. This is a question that means nothing in the later rounds, which is cool. It smells almost like Heaven's Door 10. I know it's not, but yeah, color-wise. You also think about color for the proof, but the color's right for it to be 100 on the nose. I'm going to go with my gut, and my gut says it's over. My gut says it's over based on the spices. And so that's a problem because it's not based on the alcohol, but I can't get away from the fact that I feel like it's over. I could see it being 100, but I don't think Amy's that mean. Okay, so let's go to glass D now on the nose. I'm keeping up the chat, guys. Keeping up with the chat. I'm just not reading them out loud, so I'm just trying to move through these a little bit quicker. So anyways, thanks for bearing with me. So, okay, test card. I got to move this off to the side. I'll put it back in the center for now. Okay, get this up. Okay, so move this in front. And now I got to get my cursor here. Get this set. Okay. Okay, turning my head. Now pulling this up. 3, 2, 1, going down. Okay, turning my head back. And here we go. Cool. So that was glass D. And the question here is, age above or below 10 years? Look at the color. It's a dark, dark color. Dang it, Amy. And Amy, what's interesting is that we're doing it this way with certain questions, which is cool because the hardest thing to do with these 5 samples would have been like, can you just guess all of the stats? You know, a true 100%, just wing it kind of blind. So color, evaluate first, crazy dark. So then you go, is it finished or is it highly aged or is it maybe just a toasted barrel type thing? I smell it. I don't smell a finish. I'm not getting particular fruit notes. It doesn't have any kind of brandied fruit. You know what I mean? It doesn't have any of that kind of thing to it. It smells extremely high proof, which could account for the color. It's very caramelized. Lots of orange. It actually is stinging my eyes. This is a very intense whiskey. I don't know. What is the question? Is it an age above or below 10 years? That's hard because it's so sharp. So with a whiskey like this in these glasses, because there's so much of an ethanol buildup at the tight funnel at the top of the glass, that can mask a lot of oak and leather flavors, which is going to help you identify the age if it's not obvious, like if it's not overtly coming out. So to me, my guess here is I mean, I don't want to do a bottle guess yet. I could see that being like an Elijah Craig private barrel, an Elijah Craig private barrel that's a high proofer. And the reason, so when I'm spinning that out in my mind, I don't want to base this on a bottle guess, but if it's an Elijah Craig private barrel, those come between 8 and 12 years old, but the proofs vary wildly. So they can really be, they can freak you out a little bit. So to me, this is under 10 years old. The risky guess is to say it's over because it's such high proof. It feels intense. It feels, you know what I mean? But I'm going to say under because I'm just not getting enough age notes. And I'll totally eat crow on that if that's not right. So I'm going to say under 10. And in my notes, I'm going to say Elijah Craig Pirate, high proof. Okay, so let's go to the last one now on the nose. I want to get to drinking these things, so let's change the music. All right. Glass E. Get this set here. Let's pull this up. Okay. Get my cursor here. Okay, so now I'm going to turn my head, flip it up, click that up. Okay, so we got this. 3, 2, 1, down, and here we go. Cool. Okay, glass E. State of distillation, Kentucky, Indiana, or Tennessee. So we know it's an American whiskey. It smells like macaroni and cheese, Amy. What is that? That is a very, very strange smelling whiskey. What is that? It smells like macaroni and cheese. Kraft. It's the smell. You guys know the smell when you boil like Kraft macaroni and cheese noodles before you put the cheese sauce in? There's a smell to that. And then you pour the cheese sauce in. This is the dumbest thing I've ever said, but it's like the moment that you pour the cheese sauce in and it starts to like, you're still smelling the raw noodle with the cheese. I don't know. It's a Jack Daniel's product in my opinion. Is that right? I think that's right. I think that's a Jack Daniel's product. Craft whiskey, Adam. That's funny. I think this is Jack Daniel's. I'm getting a note on this. Matt taught me this note actually, right here. Cam is broken. The red wine thing that you talk about it on the finish on the palate. But when you told me about that note, Matt, I started trying to see if I could pick that up on the nose of Jack Daniel's, and I think I can, but I don't know how to call it. Like I don't know how to describe that note on the nose. It smells malty. This is, and I think someone, Shauna says starchy pasta. I think there's some relationship right now to that pasta smell and malt. This feels high malt to me. Oh. State of distillation doesn't mean it's a product of that state. It could be sourced from the state. And this could be, like when I think Tennessee, I'm either Jack Daniels, I'm Dickel. I could be Tennessee Distiller. I think that's what it's called, Tennessee Distillers, which I think is who makes that Heaven's Door 10. It's not that. This is malty. But it could be Old Elk. Like Old Elk's got high malt. So right now in my mind, I'm thinking high malt content, right? Yeah. I'm thinking like, could this be an Old Elk because of the high malt? But I don't know if all of that distilled, in Indiana. I don't exactly know their operation, if they're starting to distill their own stuff or if they're blended. Like, but there's an herbal quality that reminds me of MGP, but I don't know what kind of MGP that would be. Could it be the 5149 rye? Oh, Amy says no screwy NDP questions would not do that to you. Okay. Then I might have to go with my gut. And what I've learned is to go with my gut on this stuff. My gut said that's a Jack Daniel's. It just said something about it's got the Jack Daniel's, and I don't know what they would have. That's like, it could be the triple mash, you know? That's the only thing I can think of, unless it's that like, what's the new one I haven't had? The twice barreled Jack Daniel's, the Oloroso. I don't want to bottle guess this though. So, oh shit. State of Indiana could be Starlight. Indiana could be Starlight. And that's where this goes off the rails. I just need to make a guess. That might be Starlight. That might be Starlight. Crap. I'm getting this brown sugar note. Starlight has a brown sugar thing that identifies it for me. It's actually a brown sugar maple thing, but Jack Daniels has the same damn thing. There's not enough banana, is there? I don't think it's crafty enough to be Starlight. But the white pepper screams MGP. Okay, guys, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. This is terrible. All right, non-binding answer. I mean, I'm going to stick with it, but it's not going to be helpful for me in the next rounds. Okay, so I'm going to say Tennessee. Let's get to tasting. I want to taste these damn things. Do you guys want reminders of what these are? Or do you just want me to go A, B, C, D, E? Let me know. So let me open up Amy's second email here. Part 2 with palette questions. Okay, got to open this. Zoom in. Extra credit. Ooh, extra credit questions. Completely and truly random. Okay, here we go. Fucking A. Class A's finished, Amy. That means it's not probably weeded. I literally smelled it and I was like, I think that's finished. God bless America. All right. So, sample A. What's the finish of this whiskey? On the palate. I smell it now. It's just one of those things you get used to it immediately when it hits you. It smells like a brandy finish. Oh, that smells so good. Cognac. It smells like a cognac finish, actually. Oh, God, that's so good, Amy. Okay, you guys want reminders. All right, so let me get glass A prepped. Take myself out here and get my cursor there. Turn my head. There you go. So there's glass A. Just a quick reminder. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Let's get into this now. Okay. So anything that's brandy finished. Port can do this too. But anything that's brandy finished on the back end, typically when you're dealing with American whiskey, unless it's done exquisitely well, I hate to sound like a D-bag, a lot of times you get this skunky note on the very, very back end of a brandy finish. This is totally, like, it's sulfur, but it's not just sulfur. It smells like way, way over-stewed. I don't know if that's the right concept. Over-stewed fruit with sulfur in it. And that's on the back end of this whiskey. So this could either be an Armagnac finish. It's actually coming off like Armagnac. I might just have to go with Armagnac. It's some sort of brandy finish. It smells like Armagnac, actually. What was this is a whiskey. What is the finish of this whiskey? Is it a rye bourbon or wheated bourbon? That is an excellent whiskey. The back end's just a little funky. Yeah, right there. Oh, dry. Dry, dry, dry. You can taste, in my opinion, I hope I'm right, you can taste the grapes. So I'm going to broadly say brandy on that for the finish. It's not coming off like port to me. That's coming. It literally smells like Armagnac. So I'm going to say brandy, and I'm going to be specific and say Armagnac, but I would give myself half credit if it's cognac. Okay, let's go to glass B. God only knows what that would be, glass A. That does not taste like a Magnus cigar blend. Could be like that Bellmead brandy finish. I have one of those, but it's way skunkier than that. All right, so glass B, let me show you guys again. By the way, we're losing a few people, and that's totally understandable. Thank you guys for being here. As if you do head out, I appreciate it. So, okay, here we go. Turn my head. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Get it out of here. Boom. Glass B. I said this is from Scotland. The options were Japan, Scotland, or Canada. I was thinking this was something like either an Aberfeldy, maybe a Dewar's blend, maybe Dalwhinnie, which I'm maybe the most sold on Dalwhinnie. Could be Clynelish 14. I'm debating whether or not I'm actually getting the waxiness for a Clynelish 14. I guess I should look at what the question is. Oh, which Scotch region is this from? Well, I might change my mind now based on that first taste. Campbelltown, Highland, Islay, Lowland, or Speyside? Great question, Amy. Definitely not Islay. Unless it's some sort of wacky unpeated Islay with a little residual smoke. My first I said it earlier, and I probably need to stick with Highland. If this was Campbelltown, there's only a few places this could be from Campbelltown. And with this low level of peat, the only thing it could be would be a Hazelburn, and I do not, which is triple distilled, unpeated Springbank. Springbank is double distilled, sort of peated, and oh geez, help me out. Not Kilkerran. What am I doing? Longrow. Geez, Longrow is, the heavily peated stuff. So I'm gonna stick with Highland. I'm gonna just lock that in so I don't second guess myself. All right. DC says this one is fun. Yeah, Longrow. There we go. So Glass C now. First question was on the nose, over or under 100 proof. I was either way on this. It had a lot of like nondescript oak spice, white pepper spice, so could play tricks on me. But I said over. I think I was in the camp that it's a bourbon. So let me remind you guys what Glass C is. I almost looked at it. Jesus. Hey, let me look what Glass C is. Okay, let me get this out in front here. I need to flip this off. Okay, there. Oh, that's really not here. I'll move this here. And now I'll turn my head. Flip it up. Also, I don't know if this one's going to be in focus. That was kind of a weird setup. So if this needs to be reshown, I can make that happen again. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Down. Back around. Okay. So Glass C now. Ooh, coming back to it. Almond. I got a lot of almond tonight. The question is this Beam, Barton, or MGP? Interesting. When I first read the question, Barton popped into my mind. But I said almond. But sometimes when I had that 1792, okay, this is a good. Okay, when I had the 1792 foolproof from Sarah in the blind video I released like a week or two ago, when I first smelled it, I remember this now because at the time I couldn't believe I was between these things. I was like, this is either Barton or MGP. And those are not similar in my mind, but in practice they were similar in that video and ended up being 1792 foolproof. This is reminding me of that. But I actually think it's MGP. I don't think I've tasted it yet. That tastes like it tastes like 6-year 36% rye MGP bourbon because it tastes like an OKI pick. There's a teeny bit of sarsaparilla, teeny bit of root beer in that. It's not fully developed yet because it's not old enough to develop, like Old Louisville Batch 1. And what ends up confusing you, and almond. Look, MGP's almond. Barton is no nuts. Although sometimes you can get a little bit of something, you can convince yourself, and then Beam is like peanut fest. This is not Beam distillate. And there's a buttercream note to this. The buttercream note turns from buttercream to root beer in 36% rye MGP bourbon from between 6 to 10 years. That's when that transition happens. All right, so I'm going to say this is MGP distillate. 6 years. And I think the proof point on this is barrel proof. So I think this is about like a one. I don't need to guess this, but I'm going to try. I'm going to say it's like a 113. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Amy, that would make it more interesting. I actually remember there was a round in Matt Madness where we had the Ardbeg Wee Beastie in the first year of Matt Madness, and I was up against Bobby from My Whiskey She Wines. And he elected to not drink it. And I remember they asked a question, or Matt asked a question, how old is this? And it was Wee Beastie, so it's 5 years old. And you know, when you're smelling peated whiskey, you just really don't know how old it is. So I think I guessed something way out of range. But it was 5 years old. But actually, I lost that round. I think. Because... No, I didn't lose that round. I think that was the round. It was me versus Bobby. But then we had to go... Both of us moved on because there was the controversy. And then we faced Grease the next round. I think that was the bullet controversy that round. The bullet pick. If I recall. I don't think Grease was in the... round that the bullet controversy happened because Grease handily defeated me. I remember. So that was that round. Yeah, that would have been like the quarterfinals. And then Grease was the semifinals. So, fun fact, almonds buried in King Tut's tomb. Interesting, DC. I think I've heard that before. So, quick reminder about tonight's giveaway. It's 2 different winners, which is awesome. 2 different winners, but one same pack of samples for both of them. 10 1-ounce samples, ECBP and Larceny Barrel Proof, both A123, the newest batches. Wild Turkey 12, I tasted earlier. Woodford Historic Entry Proof Masters Collection, the latest one. 14-year MGP Redwood Empire, finished in apple brandy casks. Incredible whiskey. 2 different backbone picks, ADHD whiskey and the Bourbon Junkies. The brand new Bardstown Origin Bottled and Bond Wheated Bourbon and the new Origin High Rye Small Batch. And then a Middle West Spirits pick that is phenomenal that I helped pick 2 years ago. Not my pick, but I helped pick it, so I'm proud of it nonetheless. Okay. So those are the giveaway. Thanks for tonight. On to Glass D. First question, was this over or under 10 years old? I was debating, could this be an Elijah Craig private barrel? I don't know. So let me get this out. I gotta move the test card back. Okay. Pull this up. And oh my god, I just saw 2 big super chats come in. I'm gonna show you guys this card first though. So let me turn my head. Okay, this is in Glass D. And 3, 2, 1. Okay. Cool. Glass D, which is remarkably dark on the color. Yeah, Elijah Craig barrel proof. Gotta be. If it's not a private barrel. What did I say? Under or over 10? Damn, I said under 10. This might not be a private. This might just be a batch. I was wrong. It's over 10 years old. What's the question on sample D? Guess the proof within 5 points. That is unbelievably good whiskey. That is, I'm going to say the F word. That's what? How did I not recognize how insane that was on the nose? It was like closed off on the nose when I smelled it. This is insane whiskey. Is that Heaven Hill 17, Amy? That is so good. I'm second guessing my life. And while I do that, let me just recognize Scott. Scott, thank you, man. $50 super chat, 10 entries. Let me get you in here. Absolutely insane. Thank you, Scott. 10. Okay. And we got DC says, tip you host. Thank you, DC. DC, man, one of these days, I really hope I get to meet you. I hope I get to meet all of you. So I need to say that first and foremost. But second thing I need to say before I go back to repeating the fact that I want to be able to meet DC is the fact that the finish on Glass D, I don't even think I'm in the finish yet. I think the palate's still going. So whatever that is, I want that. And if I find out that Glass D is not Heaven Hill 17, I'm buying 3 of these on the secondary market tomorrow. What on God's green earth is in Glass D? Richie, I want to know what that pour is. Get out of here, Richie. Tony, bro, I've never had the 225th anniversary. I know nothing about it. I've always been curious. I've actually been curious about the high rye also. I don't know anything about that. Jay says Wild Turkey 101. That whiskey is so good. I'm like getting goosebumps about this whiskey. I actually need to probably save the rest of this. The proof is high. That's why my face is so red. Amy, thank you. God, you didn't need to send a freaking super chat. Legend. Amy, thank you. And thank you for doing this flight. This is fun. This is so fun. Ghost Piper says buy 12 of them. Yeah, I probably can't afford to buy 12 of whatever this is. All right, one more sip. So I gotta guess the proof on this within 5. First impression was like, holy bejesus, that's high proof. And if I'm thinking in Matt Madness that I'm coming off of the last pour, which in my mind was 113, it could be anywhere from 105 to 115 in my guesstimation. This is significantly higher. Now, my last guess might have been wrong, but at some point you have to start trusting yourself and making guesses based on that. Dustin. I'm going to say another F word, dude. My guess is 136. My guess is 136 proof. And that gives me a good over-under on the 5, within 5 points type guess. Okay. Where did I put that document? Okay, so sample E. Oh. Amy, I think I might have... I think... secondary grain. And let me get Glass E thing up here. Okay, I'm going to show you guys Glass E again. So let me get this up. Okay, we got this, and I think we're centered. Okay, I'm going to turn my head. Flip it up. Okay, so here's Glass E reminder. And 3, 2, 1, down. Okay. So this was the one that on the nose, hang on. Sorry, I'll look at the chat in a second. On the nose, I said Okay, State of Distillation. This was the one that I was like, I thought it was Jack Daniels. Then I went between a million things. Felt high malt to me. Yeah. And Amy's question, rightfully so, is what is the secondary grain in this whiskey? Amy, you're sneaky. Okay, let me look at the chat. Andrew, hit send early by mistake. Daniel says no hints. Okay, I cannot look at the chat then. Sorry. I'm not looking at the chat. If there was a hint in the chat, I'm not looking at the chat. So, hang on. I gotta click away from... Okay. StreamYard has a, like a toolbar on the side, and I can just go to my banners toolbar. So, the chat is, like, not visible on my screen now. I don't want hints. So, whoever sent the hint... No hints. And unfortunately in StreamYard, even if a mod deletes the hint, it's still in my StreamYard. I could pull up the YouTube chat, though. So let me pull up the YouTube chat. Sorry, guys. This is inconvenient, but I legitimately forgot to say that earlier. I do not want hints on these live streams. So whoever it was, apologize. I think it's Andrew. Apologize, Andrew. I'm just kidding. But can a mod please delete that... delete that. I'll give you like 30 seconds from now. I pulled up the YouTube video below, and I'm gonna pull out the YouTube chat so I can still see it, but if that one's deleted, I won't see it. Okay, so I'm popping it out, and then I'll zoom in here in a sec. I don't think I'll see it if a mod deleted it. Amy zapped it. Great. Okay, I'm looking at it now. Thank you, Amy. Thank you. Who sent it? Andrew. It was Andrew. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Dustin, bro, you're... Man, Dustin, look, dude. All I'm saying. Okay. Andrew, I would put your super chat on the screen, but I'm not going to put it on the screen. I have to go back into the StreamYard chat. I don't want to see the spoiler until we get a little further down in the chat when I know it's gone, and then I can put your comment on the screen. But I see your super chat, queued up a comment, and hit send early. I know you're good. You're good. I'm glad I didn't see it. That's all I'm saying. So let me get back to my numbers document. Make sure I get you in for 4. Thank you, Andrew, for the super chat. And you did not need to super chat just because you spoiled the fun. I'm just kidding. All right. So sample E. I have to go with my gut on sample E. Amy, so I thought that this was a barley forward thing on the nose from Jack Daniels. That leaves me not a lot of options. Because of my first impressions, I would say that the secondary grain would be corn. When I go back to nose it, you could convince me that this is just... You could convince me that the secondary grain is malt and the primary grain is corn. And maybe there's rye or wheat in the mix. I don't know. But I'm trying to think of the notes that I'm getting. Like when I think of Indiana, Kentucky, Tennessee, I said Tennessee. That's non-binding. But something reminds me of Tennessee. Reminds me of Jack. But if let's say it's somewhere in Kentucky that's making a malt whiskey. Or they're making just a high malt. Who makes a high malt? Chattanooga makes a fucking high malt. Of course Chattanooga makes a high malt. They make high malt. They don't make malt whiskey. I mean, they do, but it's experimental probably. Oh, this is like this question in Map Madness would be a 50-50 guess between corn and barley. Because we're in America, the safe answer is to say barley. So I'm going to say barley. But that's That's tough. Let me check the YouTube chat and see if we're far enough down. I think we're far enough down. Yeah, we are. I'm back in the StreamYard chat, so I can put this on the screen. Again, Andrew, thank you for the super chat. Oh, I didn't even taste it. I like to just nose things to do these things. So well, that's absolutely wacky. Amy, what in God's name? It tastes like tastes finished. It tastes like Chattanooga. Yeah, that's Chattanooga. So I'm glad I said Tennessee, and I didn't even think of Chattanooga, but that's Chattanooga whiskey. Secondary grain, that's tough because that could go a lot of different ways with them. I said barley. It's probably not barley. It's probably corn. But I said barley, and well, no. Look, I hadn't tasted it. I can lock my guess in now. I still might say barley. Jeez Louise, man. Come on, Cam. There's enough spice in that, man. There's a lot of spice. I'm going to stick with barley. I'm going to stick with it. All right. Back to the questions. Extra credit. 5 points for any correctly guessed bottle. Points awarded for close enough guesses. Does not need to be 100% perfect. Okay. Glass D. I said Elijah Craig Private Barrel. Then I tasted it. This is the one I'm most confident. Excuse me. The one I'm most confident in. Tasted it. Thought it was just an Elijah Craig Barrel Proof batch. Smelling it, I agree. ECBP. Let me try to guess a batch. I'm going to go out on a limb. If I get this batch right, you guys will probably say I cheated. I promise to God I did not cheat tonight. I did not see anything on these cards. It's slightly dusty. And it's insanely high proof. So my mind goes to C919, A120. What else is a high proof batch? It's A119, decently high proof. It has qualities of B518 and A119. Maybe more towards B518. I know Amy has a C917. She sent me a sample of that a very long time ago. It's the first time I ever tasted C917 in one of those test tube sample bottles. Interesting. I'll come back to it for the batch, but I know it's Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. It's gotta be. Glass C. Wow, that's... I said Glass C was a 6-year, 113 proof, 36% rye MGP single barrel. I don't know how much closer I could get. It's either a Dancing Goat pick, an OKI pick. I mean, it could be a lot of things. Holding State. Holding's... No, I don't think it's Holding. It tastes lower proof to me now. I just came off of ECBP. I'm going to say an OKI pick. But I'll stick with my stats should be good enough. Glass B, it's either... Ooh, there's something sticky about that. I'm going to say Dalwhinnie 15. I can't get away from Dalwhinnie. Okay. But I thought it was Highland. I thought it could be Aberfeldy, Dewar's. You know, it could be a lot of things. Glass A, I had said wheated bourbon, but I was between a lot of things on that because the wheat grain was possibly showing through, but it was really just the lack of rye I was getting. But then I find out it's finished, and the finish can destroy spice qualities, even in a rye bourbon. So it smells like Armagnac. It smells very good. So what is an Armagnac finish? Is this Chateau de la Baude? No way. I wrote that off earlier in my brain because I was like, there's no way that's Chateau de la Baude. Amy, if you sent me Chateau de la Baude, I think you might have sent me Chateau de la Baude. No, I don't think so. Not on the palate. I think I would have recognized it on the palate. I know there's a cognac finished Heaven Hill Select stock from the distillery. Let me get a little water on my palate. I've literally drank no water tonight. Amy, I'm glad you didn't send makers. What are we rubbing whiskey on? Well, whatever we want, says Matt. Andrew says, if I rub it on my receding hairline, will it grow anything back? I don't know about receding hairlines, but I'm going gray only on the right side. And when I say I'm going gray, it's happening very quickly. It's in full force. But it's just, I mean, there's a few on the left side, but the right side of my head is just going gray. That doesn't run in my family. I'm a high-stress person, so I think it's the stress. Anyways. All right, I'm feeling the whiskey now, guys. We're 2:47 into the stream. We still have 79 people, which is just insane to me. They're probably waiting on the giveaway. I'm so sorry. I thought I was going to make you wait 2 hours. Now I'm going to make you wait 3. That's on me. All right. A is not Chateau de la Baude. No way. A might not be Armagnac finished. It could be something else, but it legitimate. I have a. I have a 29-year Armagnac, 50% ABV. This tastes just like it in my brain. Let me actually do it. It is 1,000,000% Armagnac finished. So I didn't cheat because that's the guess I'm still going to stick with. What's the bottle? I don't know. Yeah, that's not a wheated bourbon. I got that wrong. I'm going to say Chateau de la Baude. I know that's wrong. You know what? No, I'm going to say it's a Magnus cigar blend that I can't understand. That's what I'm going to say. And the last thing I need to do, I need to guess the bottle on glass E, I suppose. Chattanooga whiskey. I'm not familiar with all their experimental releases. This has to be an experimental release, right? Something with like a lot of chocolate malt in it. So I don't know. I'm just gonna say Chattanooga chocolate malt heavy. You know, something with some sort of roasted malt. Proof, I'll say, is 106, just to call a proof and see if I get that right. Let me revisit, finally, last but not least, the Elijah Craig Barrel Proof, which is Glass D. It's gotta be. Let me see if I can guess a batch. I'm running through the batches in my head right now. Hang on. Amy, if this is C917, I'm going to be pissed, but I'm going to say B518. Okay, let's do the reveal. Glass A. Question 1, rye bourbon or wheated bourbon? I said wheated bourbon. That's not right. This is a bourbon. Second question, what's the finish? I said brandy. Probably Armagnac, but I'll give myself brandy. Bottle guess. Magnus Cigar Blend? Chateau de la Botte as a backup? Well, I'll see you guys next week. All right. Yep. Cheers. I'm not sure what's happening, but I don't like it. Okay. Yeah, that's the difference. Amy, what year is that from? Are these single? These are single barrels, aren't they? Michter's finished barrel number. Yeah, it has a finished barrel number. My toasted rye tastes like shit. Yeah, 2017. This makes so much sense why people like this product. Oh, that's not even close. What the fuck? I'll say the F word now. Amy, I am not. Amy, I'm sorry I just drank off the neck of this, but, alcohol kills germs. You're getting a sample of this Armagnac. I have to write that down or I will forget. I'm kind of drunk. In this box with the Coy Hill I'm going to send you, because I am telling you, you cannot tell me that that's finished in a toasted barrel. You can't tell me that. That's finished in an Armagnac barrel. By the way it tastes. That is so crazy. If Michter's toasted rye tasted like that right now, this 2021, I would want every bottle of this product without fail. That is that's so good. And the rumor is that old Michter's is sourced from Brown-Forman. So if let's say that's the case. If that's what Brown-Forman rye tastes like, double-barreled, sign me up for all of it. That's so good, Amy. I'm not going to drink. I have to pour the rest of that back because that's a case study. I cannot believe that. I managed to save half an ounce. God, thank the Lord above. This 2021 smells really bad. It smells like a urinal cake and rubber. And Amy, you know me. You know I've always said that this rye, I like the mouthfeel, I like the development on the palate, but there's something about it that's just rubbery and not good. And I say that about the standard Michter's rye too, but the toasted surprised me because everybody loves the toasted rye. Maybe I have a bad barrel. There's a similarity. The sulfur note is on the back end of this too. So maybe they are using the same finishing barrel that's providing the sulfur note on the back end, but maybe the base whiskey has changed or lowered in age or something. That's really interesting. They do not taste alike in any other way. Amy, I will send you some of that. I'm writing it down. Sorry, guys. I'm not texting. That is... I mean, my mind is... Man. Okay. I thought I that's the thing about A. I was like, man, it's got to be an Armagnac finish, but I just don't know what product it would be to taste that old and that good. Well, it's not an Armagnac finish because it's the best toasted barrel product I've ever had in my life. And it had a little issue on the back end, but like, that's so minor. Okay, Glass B. First question, Japan, Scotland, or Canada? I said Scotland. I was pretty determined immediately. It was Highland, and I was thinking Aberfeldy Dewars, Dalwhinnie, maybe Clynelish 14, but it didn't have the waxy note in the amount that I wanted it to be. I thought because the color, it could be a Diageo product, which means they're adding E150. So Dalwhinnie 15 I went with because of the heather honey, the slight smoke in the background. Let's see. Yeah, that makes sense. 100% makes sense to me. So it's Oban Distillers Edition 2021. I have a 2019 version of this. What is the Oban Distillers Edition? Is it in Manzanilla casks? Amontillado casks? What is the Oban Distillers Edition in? Do you know, Amy? So on Oban Distillers Edition, I think I actually said grilled pineapple earlier. Montiafino cask, yeah. Okay. That's why I said Amontillado or, Manzanilla. It's Montiafino. So, I said grilled pineapple. I believe on something. Didn't I say that tonight? Grilled pineapple? What did I say that on? I think I said it on this one. Because I have an Oban like I said, I have an Oban Distillers Edition 2019. And I've always said I taste grilled pineapple on that whiskey. And I said this was probably a Diageo product. Oban. I wouldn't have guessed that, but I just wasn't in that mindset when I was tasting this. Hang on. Is Oban Highland? Yeah, West Highland. Right. So I'll take that. It has that smokiness. And I know Oban smokiness, but it's Oban smokiness is similar to Dalwhinnie, which is similar to even some of like Aberfeldy 21. It's a kind of a similar smokiness. Yeah. I'll take it. I will take that. Oban. Damn. Great bottle. Great bottle. Wow. These are I feel like I'm excited because I'm getting close on the stats, but even if I'm missing the bottle and missing a few details, regardless even of Map Madness, I feel good as just a whiskey drinker to be getting close to these things, Okay, Glass C. Over 100 proof, I said on the nose, but I said it could go either way. Hedging my bets. On the palate, what was the palate question? Beam, Barton, or MGP? First, I thought Barton. Then I smelled it again. Then I tasted it. It's clearly MGP. There's no doubt in my mind. If it's not MGP, I'll give the first person to comment, "You suck," $50. And bottle guess, it's tough. But, Amy said she's not playing any NDP games, so maybe it's like a George Remus single barrel. I should have said George Remus single barrel. I said it's 113 proof, 36% rye, MGP bourbon. I said it's an OKI pick. Wow, 95.8. Damn. Alter Ego. Doc Swenson Alter Ego, and I've had this bottle. Amy, is this the one that's finished in like 3 different casks and married in finished in 3 different casks and then married in fooders? Let me know. It's MGP though, so I'll take that. I didn't get the proof. And when I tasted the Elijah Craig barrel proof, which is going to be Glass D, I know that's going to be Glass D. I was like, wow, I went back to Glass C and I thought, wow, that tastes way under proof. Well, it makes sense because it's only 95.8? No NDP games on the questions. Bottles, not so much. Okay. Alex Halverson says, you suck. Get out of here. Glass 3 had your number. You suck. You guys said you suck, but I said it's in. I said, tell me if you say you suck, that means it's not MGP. Doc Schwenchens, lots of H's on those S's. Doc Swenson's is MGP. So everybody that said you suck, you owe me $50. That wasn't part of the bet, but I wish it would be. Assholes. I love you guys. Oloroso PX and Cognac. Honestly, Amy, I know I'm intermediately tipsy. That just smells like 36% rye MGP. Also, can somebody please check for me on that Doc Swenson's? If you can find the info, if that's 36% rye MGP. Yeah. Big here. I'll be very politically correct. I'll be very nice. Imagine that's my middle finger to all of you that said you suck. I am curious though if anybody knows they are hedging. You can't even guess the bottle, bro. Seriously? I know. I'm sorry, Alex. Legitimately curious if it is 36% MGP rye though. If someone can find that out for the Doc Swenson's Alter Ego 95.8 proof. Finished in Oloroso PX and Cognac casks. It's R2 or B2, I'm not sure which one, -004. Joe says 21, then I suck. I would have guessed 36 based on that buttercream note. Yeah. Okay. Well, I suck. But it's MGP, so I don't owe anybody $50. You guys did hedge your bets, though. Okay, Glass D. Under or over 10 years old. I said under. I was wrong. On the palate. Guess the proof within 5 points. I said 136. I feel like it's a high proofer. After Glass C, it might be a low proof. It might be 131 or 129. I said 136, though. And then the batch, I said B518. I know Amy has a C917. I don't think this is C917. It might be C919, though. I said B518. Let's see what's going on. Now, this bodes well. So, Andrew, you spoiled this, right? I think you said something about this in the chat. And I cannot believe that's C922. I don't know if it's just in the context of this flight. Holy shit, that is C922. Everybody go buy 3 of these. Wow. Wow. So, Andrew, this makes more sense now, and I'm going to go back and find your comment if I can find it right now. You were talking earlier about finding 12 C922s on the shelf. And so this makes sense why you possibly would have... here it is. Well, no, here's what you're saying now. Hang on, Paul Graham. Gee, Paul Graham. I'm going to find this now. There was a super chat around that time. You sent a super chat, so it's right here. I'm scrolling back, and here it is. And Andrew says, that reaction to Glass D, my goodness gracious, guess I'm going to go back out to buy some bottles. I pondered how many to pick up from earlier today. So there you go. So here's what I'm going to say. Number one, in the context of this blind flight, I still don't know what Glass E is, but next to a Doc Swenson's Alter Ego, which is nice. It's not stiff competition, but it's nice. Next to an Oban Distiller's Edition, which is just very different. And next to the best fucking Michter's Toasted Rye that's ever existed on the face of planet Earth. But that's Glass A, and there's a few between it. Glass D stood out like a sore thumb. It was so good. And I remember saying in my review of Glass D, in my C922 video, I said, this has remnants of dusty notes in it. It's not 100% there, but it reminds me of those dusty Elijah Craigs. And tonight, I got that note. I called it B518 because I was like, it wasn't quite as dusty as A117. It wasn't quite as bright as C919, which is super high proof, like 138 or something. I couldn't figure it out. So I guess B518 because it's a really middle of the road but dusty profile for Elijah Craig barrel proof. C917, which I know Amy at least had at one time, very tobacco forward. So what did I just pour in this glass? I have no idea what I just poured in this glass. Was it A123? I think maybe. Hang on. I have to pour it out and re-pour A123 because I don't know if I poured it. That's a waste of whiskey, but I just want to be certain. I was reacting instinctively. If it was A123. That's the only reason I would put it on the table, but what a waste of good whiskey. I just want to be very certain because I want to compare A123 to what I just got from C922, which were those dusty notes, which shocked the crap out of me. Amy, on the Michter's, I would pay like $250 a bottle for that. Easy. Sorry, my eyes are so red and watery right now. I just drank the A123 I poured in this glass, re-poured, and you ever have a whiskey hit you like, I know that's what she said, blah, 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 in the back of the throat, really like the wrong way, and it just burns all the way down. It just did that to me. So I got to take another sip and swallow correctly. Okay. C922 is it. Hey, Andrew. I don't know what this comment says. I just saw your name. Yeah. I was literally going to say to you, go back I don't know how many how many you picked up. Grab 2 more. Grab 3 more. That is wild. So A123. It's really, I don't know what it is right now. Like, so I just did my A123 review, and I had C9. Sorry, guys, alcohol. I had C922 next to it in B520, but the C922, while in its own individual review, I said it has dusty notes, it's fruit forward. In the A123 review, I just thought in comparison it felt fresh and lively. And I did not mention any of the like dusty notes to it, but A123 is really dark, like I said in the review. Dark fruits, leather, funky oak. But this C922, Amy, I don't know how long the bottle's been open, but it's been sitting out for quite a while tonight. It smells dusty, even though the other notes accompanying it, so like a dusty note is a dark note inherently. It's like a foundational thing about the whiskey. Everything on top of it in this glass for C922 is fruity, cherry, burnt orange, like those kinds of notes. Lots of baking, lots of pie crust. And in older batches of Elijah Craig Barrel Proof, like B518, C918, I'm trying to think, A119. Yeah, those 3 batches. There was a phase from B518 to A119 where it had dusty notes, but very fruit forward and bright. Before that, A117 to C917 was very dark, butterscotch, dusty. And then after that, from B519 to A120, super cherry, but just intense. Even though B519 was low proof, 61.1% ABV, those were like intense batches of cherry notes. So I divide those into like 3 categories in my mind. And then we get to B520, butterscotch, balanced. C920, a little more rye forward. Still butterscotch, a little dusty, just intense, very, just good. Everybody loved it. Then you go to 2020, disaster. 2022, getting better, A122. Bourbon Junkie said Sharpie, I agree. B522, whatever. C922, what the fuck's happening? This is amazing. Smells like a dusty with fruit on the top of it, like the batches from B518 to A119. And now we're at A123, which is like if Heaven Hill 17, Old Fitz 17, Old Fitz 19, which are chocolate, espresso, funky oak, all had a baby that was much younger and 12 years old. That's what A123 is. Okay, now I'm going to look at the chat. I had to get that off my chest. I haven't seen E yet, Amy. I'm going to go there. Alex, yeah, I've got a batch 11 back there, which is awesome. I'll see you later, Jay. I know the giveaway, guys, has lasted forever. I'm so sorry. This blind flight destroyed me. Yeah, Daniel says, time to drink lots of water. Yeah. Okay. Let me get to the bottom here. Daniel says, just ripped off the ABV on B519 from memory. Definitely. I don't know why I remember that, but yeah, 61. I think it's 61.1. Let me check. Yeah. Yeah, it's 61.1. I love my Elijah Craig Barrel Proofs, guys. Wow. Let's go to Glass E. I said it's got to be a Chattanooga. So first question, is this, Indiana, Tennessee, or Kentucky? I said Tennessee, thinking, God, excuse me, I got the bourbon belches. I said Tennessee, but I said that based on the high malt conclusion that I came to. I thought maybe Jack Daniels, on that Jack Daniels wine finish note that I get from Matt Porter. He taught me that note. But on the nose, and then second question was just insane. What's the secondary grain? It feels malt forward, but what are the odds of the barley being the primary grain? So I said the secondary grain is barley. Bottle guess. I said it's 106 proof Chattanooga product with a lot of roasted or chocolate malt. So that's rough, Amy. That's rough. Yeah. That's rough. So we got Spirits of French Lick, William Dalton. And if I'm not mistaken, William Dalton is the blue bottle, which is, yeah, okay, it says there, wheated. So the reason I'm getting those funky notes, now keep in mind, I will give myself this. I was like, man, maybe it could be Starlight. It had that craft taste to it. Now it's so clear now. It's just a craft whiskey. It's got that farmy thing. Dang. Yeah. Wow. That is a tricky one, Amy. And truthfully, I'm not sure that a lot of people would be able to... I'm just making excuses now, but I'm not sure that a lot of people would be able to guess the secondary grain as being wheat. Now I smell it now, but it smelled very malty to me. Man, that's a hard one. Yeah. 70 corn, 20 wheat, 10 malt. That flight. So at the let me like look at these in a row. Okay. Yeah. So we had Michter's Toasted Rye from 2017. Keep that in mind because I can tell you side by side it tastes nothing like 2021. Michter's Toasted Rye. Oh, it says 2017 on the freaking card. Sorry, Amy, for asking that. Oban Distiller's Edition, 2021. So we've gone from Michter's a Toasted Rye from 5 years ago to Oban Distiller's Edition from 2 years ago, I guess. Doc Swenson Alter Ego, a triple finished MGP extravaganza, 95.8 proof, to Elijah Craig Barrel Proof C922, which, honest to God, if I have one surprise of this flight, it's that Elijah Craig Barrel Proof C922 tasted like a nearly dusty Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. The second surprise is that Michter's Toasted Rye can taste like the greatest Armagnac finished bourbon. Third greatest Armagnac finished bourbon ever, even though it's a rye and it's toasted. And last but not least, Spirits of French Lick William Dalton Bottled and Bond, which is a wheated bourbon, and it's 4 years old. What a freaking incredible flight. So the randomness of Roy's guessing paid off tonight. That's crazy. It's time to do a giveaway. So, What time is it? 11:29. At 11:32, we're going to call the giveaway. Let's just do 2 more minutes, 2 and some change of additional entries. If anybody wants one, if nobody wants one, I understand. It's very, very late. But at 11:32, we're going to do the giveaway. I'll share my screen. You'll see the whole process, totally transparent. And that giveaway is a sample pack for 2 different winners, the same sample pack. Elijah Craig Barrel Proof, Larceny Barrel Proof, both A123. Wild Turkey 12-year, the export that I tasted earlier. The newest Woodford Masters Collection Historic Entry Proof. The Redwood Empire Apple Brandy finished 14-year MGP. 2 Backbone picks, ADHD Whiskey and Bourbon Junkies. The Bardstown Origin Series Bottled and Bond Weeder. And the High Rye Small Batch. And finally, a Middle West Spirits pick that I helped pick 2 years ago. There we go. Daniel says, Andrew asked if you got both his super chats accounted for. Let me see. Now that my conscience is clear, out of curiosity. Oh, Andrew, let me make sure, man. Yeah, your first super chat was 4 entries, and your second was also 4. So just let me know that that's correct, and I believe that's right. Let me make sure my Venmo is good. I haven't missed... No, I don't think I've missed anybody in my Venmo. Okay, Andrew's good to go. So yeah, A123 is solid. So let's talk about that. Yeah. That's the Michter's Toasted Rye 2021, and it's not good. Amy, I cannot wait for you to try the 2021 edition of Michter's Toasted Rye. But A123. Yeah, it's... I'm going to stand by the fact that in my video, I said it reminds me of like Heaven Hill 17 Light, L-I-T-E. It still does, because Heaven Hill 17 doesn't have a lot of dusty notes to it. It just tastes like a really nice modern bourbon, aged for a long time, that has developed super sweet notes from the barrel. Similar to King of Kentucky. Just not as high proof and not as molasses and acetone forward. Yeah, A123 to me smells like a combination of like Knob Creek 18, Heaven Hill 17, and Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. So, all right. The giveaway is done. Let me make sure I'm good. The one person I missed, holy shit, sorry, I said I was going to get to it, and I did not get to it, is the freaking man himself, Paul G. My computer is dying, guys. If the frame rate starts to get weird, it's because of that. Let me unplug my secondary camera. Okay. Yeah, that frame rate is not good. But I think we're better now. I think we're going to get better here in a second. Let me turn the music off. Okay, let me turn the banner off. Okay. Just try to make this easier on my computer here. Yes. Okay. Yeah, my computer ends up dying after a stream that's this freaking long, so I have Photoshop open, so that is now closing. All right. I think we're back in action here. I'm just looking at myself on the screen. Looks like the frame rate is mostly good. Let's do the giveaway. So, Paul Graham, I missed you earlier. I said your name, but I want to just call you out. Paul coming in with the biggest super chat of the night, $100. Paul, thank you so freaking much, man. Paul is easily the biggest supporter of the channel, and I can't thank him enough. So I'm going to enter him in now for 10 entries to tonight's giveaway, and then we're going to do the official drawing for that. Making sure I did not miss anybody. Yep, we're good. Okay. And Paul is going to get 20 entries. What did I say? Did I say 10? If I said 10, that's just me being slightly intoxicated. Let's turn on some jazz to make up for that. Okay, there we go. I said 10. That makes sense. Whenever anybody sends $100, I always think 10 in my brain because I don't know. I just always think that. Okay. I'm going to make sure I've got everybody's super chats. 99 super chats. That's incredible. I did not miss any Venmos for sure. I just want to make sure that the last couple super chats were correct. And if I messed this up and I missed anybody like on YouTube who sent a super chat, I'm just going to send you a sample pack as a consolation prize, but I don't think I'm going to miss anybody this evening. Amy, DC, Scott, Toshi should be the last one. My mom, okay, that doesn't count. Toshi, and then it should be Lido. Yes, and yes. Okay, good. Here we go. I'm going to share my screen with you guys. Whoa. They changed this up in StreamYard. Okay. So here's my screen. So you can see all of these entries. I'm just going to go with this column, which it generates thanks to Amy. Here's everybody. So you can double check yourself right now, which would be the best. In the next 30 seconds, let me know if you're misaccounted for, given the number of entries. All right. Otherwise, afterwards, you can let me know then. Let's pull down that. And we're now on random.org. Going to list randomizer, inputting everybody's names that I just copied. I'm going to check the chat to make sure I didn't miss anybody. Paul loves jazz. There we go. Amy says, roll for a third, and I'll send another set. So we have 3 winners tonight. Thank you, Amy. God, you're awesome. Okay, here we go. Guys, 7 spins. 1 and 2 get 10 samples from me. You already know what they are. And number 3 is going to get a sample from Amy. There's no double winners. So we will move down to the next winner after 7 spins. Here we go. 1. There's 1. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and here's the last spin. 7. Boom. DeMarcus, Scott, and Jeb. So Jeb, you are winning the pack from Amy of tonight's blind. Scott and DeMarcus both winning 10 1-ounce pours from yours truly, including things we tasted tonight and some other really, really nice pours. So I'm going to write this down right now to make sure that I do not forget DeMarcus and Scott. Okay, here we go. Still you and Scott. Okay, great. Congrats to you guys, and thank you everybody for the super chats. If you didn't win, I apologize. It is what it is, you know. But I appreciate the support for the channel, and you know, I'm not going to say enter next time. I don't want to twist your arm to, you know, send me money or send the channel money, but I appreciate the support regardless. Got a little more tipsy than I wanted tonight. Thank you guys for hanging around. We had a great turnout this evening. Possibly even a record-setting night, to be honest. Check out the latest reviews, the Michter's 20, the Elijah Craig A123. Look out for a review tomorrow or possibly, yeah, Saturday's going to be tough, but possibly tomorrow or Saturday for a review. If not, certainly by Sunday. Lots of stuff on the editing desk, if you want to say that. Hit the like button on your way out, and I can't thank you enough. Yeah, I'll be back next Thursday. Let me confirm that very quickly. I think every Thursday this week is supposed to be a live stream. Yeah, next Thursday should be good. I'm playing Harry Potter next week, live to film Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince #6. But I'm going to be done by 4:30 next Thursday, so should be good. Amy, I will not ever debate you on that again, ever. It's so good. DeMarcus, hey, so for you guys who won the blind, Scott, Scott, I have your information, but still email me anyways. And DeMarcus, send me an email here. I gotta be able to see my screen. drumsanddrams@gmail.com. Send me an email there in the chat and on the screen. Just give me your name, your address. Let me know you won tonight, and I'll get that out to you Monday. Thank you, Amy. Yeah, Monday is... Amy's helping me out because she knows I'm a little more tipsy than I want to be. I did not have a big enough dinner before this, so that's the real issue. Thank you, Shauna. Thank you, everybody. I'll see you guys later. I'm going to wrap this up with C922. Elijah Craig, C922. Andrew, go back and get 2 more. Everybody go buy 2 more of these. Cheers, guys. I'll see you soon. Thank you, everybody, for the super chats. And Paul Graham, you're a freaking legend, dude. Thank you, everybody. Cheers.